Mr. Alcazar,
Here.
Mr. Squaga,
Here.
Councilwoman Bybee. Here. Mr. East,
Here.
Commissioner Hill. Here. Mr. J,
Present.
Mr. Long,
Here.
Mr. Murdock,
Here.
and Chair Sheedy.
And,
You have a point.
all right, thank you so much. Okay, at this time, we're going to go into public comment.
We do have one public comment from Mr. George.
All right, good morning.
Good morning, Mayor.
See you,
Madam Mayor.
George.
Thank you all for having me here today. I see a lot of familiar faces. It's been quite a while since I've been here. I'm the general manager of the Reno Rodeo, and we're coming into our 106th year. And the exciting thing is, and this is something that I've been talking about, we're always trying to make it bigger and better, and this is an exciting time right now because we have a lot of things with our new Reimagine project to get the facility upgraded and bring more events back to Reno. And this facility has been dilapidated. It's tired. And so we felt the only way we're gonna do this is jump in and help. And we're looking for partnerships, and the RSCVA has been a great partner. And we've sat down with them recently and with Mike Larangetta, and we've had a great working relationship, and we're starting to see some of this stuff come to life, and being able to financially help support our future and help do that. We want to continue this partnership in a big way. And one of the things on your agenda today is the new video boards for the indoor arena. I've been all around the country, many facilities and arenas and Western events. This is probably one of the very few that doesn't have a video board system and I think it's very important for the future of what we're doing here and to regrow. And our rodeo is sold out, our stands are full, and we're trying to figure out ways to accommodate the people that want to come to the rodeo. And so we started a viewing party last year, and we went out and rented a board to put in there for the viewing party so people could watch the rodeo from in the indoor arena. And the RSCVA or RSLAC had cross-rented that board. It's still up in there today. They kept it after the rodeo instead of it coming down, and they kept it for all their fall events and their chapel bit and the actor that's coming. They're gonna need it for that. So it's important that you invest the money back into the event facility. And there's a lot of other things that we're doing. We're trying to help with and updating the bucking chutes on the outdoor arena and all of the pins and all that, and working with the staff there. They're able to help with the labor cost of installing it, and we're buying the equipment, so it's a great partnership. And we just are right now designing the pins to last summer you put in a new wrought iron fence on the south side. Unbelievable amount of people have come to me and said, this place is starting to look better. And it was just a matter of 250 feet of fence. And the chain link was falling down, and it was time, and now we're gonna put new pins back there to where it's safe. And anyway, my time's up. Thank you. One of the replays, providing it with the new replay for the indoor arena. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you. Fantastic. Okay.
No other public comment.
Okay, perfect. Okay, we're gonna head to item C1, approval of the agenda of September 26, 2024. Give me a motion.
Thank you. Move to accept the agenda for September 26, 2024.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Approval of the minutes of July 25th, 2024. Can I get a motion?
Move to accept minutes of July 25th, 2024.
All right, I have a motion.
Second.
I have a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Okay, review discussion of possible action to approve staff's recommendation. Oh, okay. Oh, gotcha. Okay, does anyone want to pull up? These are actually all consent items. Does anyone want to pull anything up? Go ahead.
Yeah, Madam Mayor, if I could remove C3, because of the size of the expenditure. And I think it's an important, really important decision to make, and the staff can give us some more background, so we could move that off.
All right, any other items? Seeing that there are none, may I get approval of the rest of the consent? agenda?
I'll move to accept the consent agenda with C3 removed.
Perfect. So I have a motion. I have a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Okay, moving on to item C3. Go ahead, Councilwoman.
I'd actually like to turn it over to staff to give us a little bit more background with the big expenditure, but not only the importance of it, but how we're gonna pay for it.
Great, thank you, Madam Mayor. Mike Larrigator for the record. Just to give the board a little history as it relates to this item, and then I will let Mr. Martinez and Ms. Pickens provide any additional details or questions the board may have. In fiscal year 21-22, the board approved a $275,000 bid process to go forward with a bid for the scoreboard. And at that time, both the team and the consultant that we were using was under the assumption that this scoreboard was all inclusive of power. And what we found out after the fact is that did not include power. And so there was going to be a request of additional $100,000 expense, taking that to a $375,000 expense, although the board had only approved $275,000. At that time, we'd only received one bid back, and that came from Yesco. And that bid was at $398,000. So obviously exceeding what the board have approved. So the team decided to table that request at that time. We went back out and requested the board to approve another amount of funds to look at LEDs versus a scoreboard. And after speaking to clients, after speaking to the Reno Rodeo, the decision was made that LEDs was not the direction that we wanted to go for that facility. So this carry forward item from the fiscal 22-23 budget, capital budget that was approved, is now been moved into this budget. So after, as we put in the packet, you've seen the feedback from clients, you've seen feedback from potential clients, and obviously what Mr. Combs said today. We feel that the opportunities that this new scoreboard would provide us at the RSCVA to attract new business, to maintain existing business, and also provide an opportunity for us to sell both fixed sponsorship and advertising, and also to be able to provide digital advertising on a need basis by individual events that are at the RSCVA. And a question that came up in the pre-board, when you look at the amount of business that we are driving into the RSCVA on an annual basis, it is by far our most occupied facility. That building is occupied at a minimum of 45 to 52 weekends a year. So the opportunities of this scoreboard, and just to give you a visual, and there's obviously some diagrams in your packets. Think of the scoreboard and the quality that hangs in Lawler Event Center. That would be at the Reno Sparks Livestock Event Center.
So needed. All right, any further questions?
Just Mr. I don't know, Courtney needs to do this, or Mr. Larrigator, in the pre-board, you were explaining to us, I was asking if it had been budgeted for this fiscal year. It had not, but we are able to, because of other savings. Could you give a little more detail on that?
Yes, thank you. And then I'll turn it over to Mr. Martinez. Mike Larrigator for the record. So there is monies that are carried forward into this capital budget that were approved that we would allocate towards this purchase. In addition, I'll let Jose and Amy go into details. There were two major expenditures that were budgeted and approved that we have saved a significant amount of money to the amount of almost $400,000 that would more than make up the delta between what was already approved in the budget for this purchase and the delta of the additional expense to the 548. Jose?
Correct. So we identified two projects that we had budgeted $300,000 and $400,000 for. $400,000 was budgeted for the exhibit hall painting at the convention center. After the competitive bidding came back, we received really good bids and very competitive. So we actually got a bid for $257,680 for that project. Total savings of $142,320. So the other was the air wall. Air walls were recommended to us to replace some of the air walls, and they're 30 by 4 foot panels. So you can imagine they're quite expensive. After further exploration, Amy Pickens brought out a consultant. They went through our air walls and they identified that we no longer needed to replace them and only needed to repair them. And a lot of maintenance and some of the infrastructure to the air wall just needed to be kept up. And we identified that with that project, a savings of $257,779. So with those two projects, we have more than adequate funds to fund this scoreboard.
All right, good job, Jose. All right, any further questions? Go ahead, Stephen.
On that, I'm just more curious, on the early bids, that we got the one bid from Nesco, was it this style of sign?
It was similar to that.
Okay.
So it was a four-sided board. We didn't get the total, package from them because of the need for more power. So they basically submitted a bid for the scoreboard, and yes, it was gonna be similar to that. I don't know about exactly, but they did identify that we could not move forward unless we, added more power into that, arena.
Okay, any further questions? All right, seeing this long overdue, I'd like to make a motion to approve.
Second?
I have a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed. Motion carries. All right. Okay, here we are, moving on. Item D1, presentation, Dr. Royal and Good Giant. Just some housekeeping things, because I don't know, what kind of, thanks so much, you guys. I'm not sure what rules we have in place, or do we have any handbook? No, we'll just, so what I'm sort of used to is everyone gets 3 minutes. We do 1 round, 2 rounds is another 3 minutes. And then, call for the question. So that we can keep everything sort of streamlined and moving on. I've spoken to Mr. Larragetta. I'd like to keep these meetings at a 2-hour minimum, because I know everyone's busy. What?
Minimum or max?
Right? Right? So just know if we don't get to that item, it'll go to the next agenda. All right, moving on, item D1. Do we have any public comment on this item, Madam Clerk?
No public comment.
Okay, great. I'm gonna send it back to you, Mike.
I'm gonna turn over to
Christina, it's all you.
Sounds
Take it
good.
away.
I am thrilled to have our PR agencies here with us today. We have Decker Royal and Good Giant here today, and I will let the teams introduce all of their team members who are here because it's pretty extensive. But we have Kathy Decker and Stacy Royal, the principals of the Decker Royal Agency, and they are here to present on some of the work that they have done for us, the work that they are currently working on, and what they see for the future. So I'm going to introduce Kathy and the rest of your team.
Good morning. I just want to start by saying it is a pleasure to be here. We have not had this opportunity and we've been your friends for a little bit, so we are delighted to be here. And I have to just say at the get-go that my experience with your destination goes back to the MGM Grand. When I used to go
Wow.
as a young person, I thought I was really cool with my really big hair and my really big jewelry. And we would take my grandmother to see the Hollywood
Yeah.
show. And it was just this fantastic experience. And now I've been here for a week because my family's in Sparks.
Oh.
And so I've been spending time with my aunt and uncle and my cousins and their children. And so just, and Mayor Sheehan, you probably don't remember, but when we first got the visit, you gave me a key to the city.
Oh.
And that, and I have to say, that was a very big deal for my family. They thought that that was fantastic.
Well,
So
good.
we have this east and west part of the family. So I've been here for a bit. And so for us, this is really just a wonderful opportunity. But really what we're here to talk about is my team and my company. And so I want to tell you a little bit about us. One of the things we're super proud about is that when our clients come, they stick. And that's an important thing in the agency business. We're award winning, but it only matters really when we win awards for you, and we've done that too. And the thing I really love as I introduce my team is to talk about longevity. You know, one of the things that's really important when you run a public relations company is the expertise and the intellectual property you own internally when you are here often. That's what I loved when Melanie was here and she was able to meet the team from the rodeo, because we just brought media to the rodeo in June when they were here and they loved it. And so, and I have to say to Mike, to thank you for yesterday, because that stakeholder meeting, when we know, you grow, and that's important. And the more we know, the better we are at our jobs. And so we really appreciate that opportunity. And so before I say anything about us, let me introduce you to our team. Melanie Ehrlich, Allie Wickman, and my partner in crime, Stacy Royal. The work that we do for you is mostly based in traditional media relations. And this is just a list of the other sort of services that we provide. One of the things I would like to say that we're really great, that I think we're really terrific about, is partnership. And that's why I'm really excited to be working with our friends at Good Giant. And despite the way it's going to look when we stand up here, we did not all plan to wear black today, but we did, and we do think an integrated team is the best way to work together, so we appreciate the support. This is just to give you a little idea of the types of clients we work on. My company, our company, is we're solely focused on travel tourism and destination hospitality kind of work. And so this gives you a sort of glimpse into the types of clients we represent. We're in the Caribbean, we are in Asia, we are in Africa, we are in, if you eat well, sleep well, drink well, we probably have a client there. And I'm gonna turn it over to you.
So as Kathy said, this is our first time. We're very delighted to be here in front of the board. And before we talk about you, which I promise will be the vast majority of this presentation, we thought we would just share a little bit of work that we've done for other clients. So you can get an idea of how we work and the kind of ideas that we have. So this is of course Taylor Swift. I don't think she needs any introduction here, but we have a client.
I got my bracelets on.
So we have a client in Kiki who is aimed at an 18 and 35-year-old audience. They do tours all over the world, but for them, of course, Taylor Swift is right now their deity. So we came up with an idea aligned with her Eras Tour, which is such a massive economic development right now all over the world, to create Tailor Your Kiki, which for people who are doing gig tripping and traveling to Europe for summer vacations, they can align their trip with a concert. So this has, I mean, we saw fantastic results with this. It was a 22% increase in referral traffic to their website, tons of coverage everywhere from CNN to New York Times to CNT Traveler. To be honest, I thought about whether I wanted this on the public record, but I think I'm just gonna tell you, this is our third Taylor Swift idea at this stage. I don't know what that says about us, but I'll let you decide. This, and I should share, these case studies are like within the last couple of months, which is why we thought we would share them here. This one is, we represent a real estate developer who owns property all across the coast of Maine. And he bought this fantastic property that was a family property before. He bought it earlier this year and developed it so quickly. And if anyone knows Maine, it is a seasonal destination. The season is short. And he was like, well, I'm gonna open this in March and I need you to fill it for the start of the May season. And we thought, okay, that's an ambition, but we're gonna try it. And we just got such fantastic coverage for this property, which is really just has been a media darling everywhere from Forbes to Vogue to Travel + Leisure. And in their first season, they have a 90% sellout. So we're really delighted to see that. And then finally, as a New Yorker, it is difficult to talk about who has the best pizza. But we represent the destination of New Haven, Connecticut, best known for Yale. And if you're not familiar, it's called a pizza, not pizza there. So for National Pizza Day, we came up with a clickbait campaign to do the pizza capital of America and get a year free of pizza. And this got tons of coverage, tons of traction everywhere from New York Post, New York Times, Fox News. And we also utilized this fantastic experience in Washington, D.C., where a group of 100 destination leaders, congresspeople went to the Capitol to declare New Haven the pizza capital of the United States. Again, I should mention the New York Post article was not delighted with this, but you know, all PR is good PR. And as we look, we're gonna talk a little bit more about measurement as we get further into our deck. But for some of our clients, we're really starting to be able to show conversion. Now that is still nascent in PR. But we think whenever we can talk about how PR impacts actual bottom line results, we can and we should. So for example, for our Lindblad client, which is an expedition cruise client, in 2023, that was their first year with an outside agency. And they were able to track that in that year, 10% of all sales came from PR efforts. And just as a little aside, we do media trips for them as we do for you. We had Insider there. That one article generated 700,000 in sales for them, just from that one article. And they were able to tell that from Google Analytics on the back end. We also, for our Club Wyndham property, which the parent company is Travel + Leisure Co., and they actually have a WorldMark property downtown. We did a partnership with them with Hallmark where we created Christmas suites. throughout the US. And those properties, those suites sold out in 7 hours. And then for Holland America Line, our cruise line, last Black Friday has always been a thing, of course, but it's becoming more and more prevalent in the travel industry. With after record coverage, they saw a 40% year-over-year increase in sales on Black Friday. So again, it's not always possible to show conversion with PR, but whenever possible, we think it's important to talk about it. And then as Kathy said, what we really think makes us special is the relationships that we keep. Obviously, there are many agencies that have fantastic ideas. We hope that you think that we are one of them. But we think what makes us really special is the relationships that we keep with our clients, which is evident in the longevity that we have. Okay, now as I promised, now we're gonna talk about you. So 7 years is a long time. Certainly, we're not gonna go through 7 years of coverage, because as you mentioned, you want to keep this to a 2-hour maximum. So we're going to go through this very quickly, but we thought we would give you a little bit of a highlight over the last couple of years of what coverage looks like and where we're going next. So in the beginning, what we found was coverage was very much like how Reno became more than my favorite road stop. Coverage looked like always positive, but always telling us first what Reno was not before it was telling us what Reno was, right? It was part of the perception challenge, which certainly still exists. But as we, moved our way through the timeline, we started seeing that the conversation started shifting. So for the Today Show, we have like little glimmers where we had a segment there that they talked about a new energy in Reno. Another segment in the Today Show talked about that it's like a hipster village, possibly the next Portland. And as we move through, to a closer to current day, we're really seeing that the articles are very much about what Reno is today, right? We no longer have to look back because we know that it's been through a transition and there's still transition. But Reno is still a thriving gaming destination, right? We know it was the #1 expenditure of the last year. We know that Reno is an arts destination. We know that it's a foodie destination. We can talk about it in the present tense rather than talking about what it is not first. And I think we're really starting to see that shift when we look at the coverage. And I mean, who doesn't love an award? You can see all your awards back there. But we know how important awards are for a destination. These are focused on MICE. So we have certainly Skipped here, we have Smart Meeting, but we also know we've made it to Best Cities in America, Best Small Cities. And these are really what help a destination market itself, right? To be able to be on these lists, to be able to have these call outs. So we recognize how important this is and know that this is top of mind. So that's a little bit of where we've been. I'm gonna pass it over to Mel to talk a little bit about our most recent coverage, and then we're gonna start looking forward.
So here's just a little bit of what we did over this past fiscal, the 23 to 24 fiscal year. As you can see, we surpassed all of the goals that we set at the beginning of the year. We're especially proud to increase the backlinks, not only to the Visit Reno Tahoe website, but also for our partners as well, because we want to make sure that they are always visible. There is no destination without our partners. We also were able to increase our metrics for the average domain authority, which is really great for SEO that we know is important to a lot of our clients in recent years. And to look at some of our coverage, we're always leveraging our relationships with journalists to talk about Reno whenever we have the opportunity to make sure that we are boosting the destination to stay visible with high SEO and high mass reach media. And so you can see just some of our coverage from the past year. We were able to talk to Fox News about how Reno is a great place to go for Labor Day, or Forbes for Halloween travel, those perennial topics that we know that journalists are going to cover year after year, but we can always insert the destination. We also were very proud to get a feature story in Thrillist from a journalist that visited the destination 3 years ago, who is really passionate about art and loves the art that we have in the city. And then, of course, we can also insert the destination into stories where we talk about, the best antiquing, highlight junkie, and things like that. So we're always talking about the destination in different ways because there's so much to talk about. Outdoor adventure, we also know is very important to Reno. It's a 4-season destination, we always say. So we'll always talk about the skiing here, but then we will also talk about, you can go hiking in the summer or during the off season, so that there's always something to do. And we were able to leverage this year when outside was named the happiest place. We were able to continue that coverage to other outlets as well, just to increase the visibility. And of course, we know MICE is very important with the 4 facilities that you all own. So we're always making sure that we're talking to the MICE media and making sure that what we have to offer for groups and planners is always top of mind. So of course, we will talk about the new indoor track that's coming. We've already got some coverage there and we will keep that going as the track opens in December. We're always talking about what we can offer to groups, from dining to hosting events at the facilities and also the hotels as well, because we know that's very important. And then we of course talk about, new board members or new parts of the RSCVA, such as Mike's new appointment this year. And then we know drive markets are very important as well, especially in California and most of the West Coast. So we really made that our mission to invite more media from the drive markets. We hosted a journalist that wrote for the Mercury News in the Bay Area, and that publication of a spotlight of Reno was syndicated to over 100 outlets across the nation, and a lot of those were in drive markets from Monterey to Oakland and Orange County. And then we also hosted a journalist from the Seattle Times who was able to talk about her experience during our ski pest trip last year. And so we're really proud that we're able to continue to talk to the drive markets and make that an important part of our coverage. And so that is what we have done for the last fiscal, but in the 3 months since the new fiscal has started, we just wanted to show some of the great coverage that we have gotten so far. We hosted a press trip in late June where we had a journalist from LA Weekly come, and she loved the rodeo actually, and wrote a feature story for LA Weekly. We also had a journalist from Food and Wine, and she's also writing a story for Travel and Leisure, spotlight the amazing dining scene in Reno Tahoe. And then, of course, we talked about Reno really is a 4-season destination. So we're going to highlight, it's very popular in the winter, but there's also even better things to do in the summer. It was named one of the most walkable cities by House Beautiful. And then we were able to leverage some clickbait. There's this blue line theory that was going around on TikTok about how you just feel better when you're by the ocean. And so we thought, or by bodies of water. And so we thought, Lake Tahoe is a body of water. It's a great place to go, feel better. And we're able to leverage that in Forbes and actually get a quote from Mike in there. So we really do know the destination collectively from all of us. We've been here over 15 times, and we're always, talking to destination partners about what they have going on and how we can leverage new things that they are doing within the destination, whether that's renovating hotels, new cocktails on their drink venues. And so we're always looking to, our partners at Good Giant and the destination stakeholders so that we make sure that the destination is always top of mind and that we know the key things that we should be talking about. And now, talk about what we're going to do in the future.
So before we talk through a couple of ideas, we thought it might be helpful to talk about how we pitch. Certainly we utilize press releases. That's probably like the most well-known form for PR. And that's really for news and announcements. But for the vast majority of time, we need to create the news, right? We need to look for the news. So one of the ways that we do that is through thought leadership. So this is really being able to utilize either a trend that's in the marketplace or a trend that we're creating to be able to give share of voice to our leadership team. So for example, we know sports tourism is a massive trend right now. So this would be an opportunity for us to be able to leverage Mike to talk about the new track. Or it might be for an opportunity with Skip, we might look at the alliance between the airport, the RSCVA and EDON in building investment for the destination and talk to Skip about that. This again is really about looking for places to insert our leadership team into trending conversation. It could also be, looking at MICE trends for 2025 and 2026 and looking to our stakeholders for them to share some of the trends that they're seeing at their properties. So again, there's a lot of opportunity here and certainly one of the ones that we look to very often. Clickbait, we've talked a little bit about. Certainly the Taylor Swift idea that we shared earlier was very much clickbait. But for this is really about us also consistently auditing the media, which is so important. And it's such a huge part of the background of what we do every single day when we're looking at trends. So this means looking at SEO, at Google Analytics, at search terms, at what's trending on social. As Mel mentioned, the blue line theory came because it had been trending on TikTok. Even though the book had been written years ago by a marine biologist, we took that as an opportunity to bring that back up to light with the media. Because the important thing to understand about media is that it's also a business, right? So they're more likely to cover something that is trending and searching high because they know that their clicks are going to come through in a stronger way. And then story seeding. This is so important, and this is really the bread and butter of what we do. And why, again, the meeting that was hosted yesterday by the RSCVA was so important for us to get to know the stakeholders. Our team has built a lot of relationships with stakeholders, but it was really nice to see them in person and hopefully grow those relationships. And it's not just only about the stakeholders, it is, we're the members of the RSCVA. It's about partnerships with Good Giant, with BBK, also the other destinations that we, cross over and share with, whether that be Reno Tahoe territory or the state. We work with them often, and this is so important to be able to all work together in partnership for that. But this is really about being able to tell the small stories, right? The watermelon seed stories. And we do this not only by being knowledgeable, which again, all of the partnerships help with, but with knowing what the media need, right? And this is really where our relationships matter with the media. We're constantly meeting with them, not only in New York, our agency, many of us are located in New York, but we have people all across the US. And media is remote, just as a lot of the other workers are now too. So it's important that we have people in different areas. Last month, our director of media relations, who sits across all of our clients at the agency, she hosted a great event for 10 media to just understand what they're working on, right? The other day, we also had someone sit with the New York Times, where we know that Reno Tahoe is shortlisted for 52 places. So everyone please, fingers crossed. But these are the kind of things that matter, right? Being able to talk to media consistently and knowing the kind of stories that are going to make. Now I will share with Allie.
Thank you, Stacy. So as she said, we work with journalists in a bunch of different ways, from dozens of hot leads weekly to creating trends. But we also like to have a Rolodex of upcoming pitches that we can share with media. So some of the ones that we've identified that cater to our target audiences are focusing on our family-friendly travelers and the places that families can go, whether it's the Discovery Museum or some of the local hikes. Also focusing on our ski resorts, how Reno Tahoe is the perfect base camp for visiting the largest concentration of ski resorts in the West. And of course, focusing on our arts community, from the exciting new Nevada Museum of Art exhibit to the neon line development and community maker spaces like the Generator. And then we know the meetings industry is of course very important, and we work on this throughout the year, whether it's quarterly press releases, interview opportunities that we either get from media or we proactively offer Mike as an insight through thought leadership. We do awards, whether it's Smart Meetings or BizBash named us the best city to host a meeting a few years ago, as well as spotlighted the Reno Sparks Convention Center. And then media visits, which we're about to go into more, is those trade journalists who focus on the meetings industry, love to come and actually see the spaces for themselves. So that's something we look forward to continuing to do. So we really believe that seeing is believing. In our 7 years with DR, we've brought over 100 journalists to the destination, normally averaging about 12 to 20 a year. And the stories that come from this really range. Sometimes it's a beautiful feature story that really dives into the destination and the partners. And sometimes it's building a relationship with the journalist that ends up getting us spotlights in over 10 different pieces across the years. So we really like to build those relationships. Once they come to the destination, they really see what we see in it and all of the great community, art, outdoor adventure, and that translates to coverage. So these are just some of the few recent great pieces we've had. And some good quotes that talk about our key messaging. We've talked about how Reno is really experiencing a funky renaissance, and that is coming across during their visits. The art is, of course, very important. The creative types and wellness enthusiasts are being attracted to Reno Tahoe. Just make them up. And I'll pass it back to Matthew to talk about this.
So I'm gonna speed through this because in truth, we just wanted you to get a glimpse. You have a really important project coming up. And we wanted to at least show you how everything we just talked about might be translated to bringing the track to life. So of course, there'll be a press release. Of course, we're gonna be working with our Good Giant folks for the December 5th launch, and we're gonna bring some media in for that too. But then, as Stacy mentioned, with the thought leadership piece, really about the rise of sports travel. And I can speak to that, as you know full well, because my cousin has, her child has run volleyball. I mean, I can't even tell you how many times we've been here for volleyball. So we understand what this market is about. But I think the interesting thing too is to talk about how we will bring that opportunity to a consumer audience. Because at the end of the day, we're really focused on bringing folks in here to sleep in your beds and eat in your restaurants and spend money on attractions, because that's where it's all about, right? So we're talking about how sports families, these people are schlepping with their kids all over the country, and you're one of them. And we're thinking about doing is that a bad thing? Say schlep. Everybody knows schlep? Okay, so with schlep is good. But this idea of bringing families into the destination and really making those experiences when they are here a full circle travel experience. Measurement, you're fun.
Yeah, so we know, coverage is a little bit of quality and quantity. We want those stories to be really great, but we also want to make sure that they are reaching mass audiences so that it can get the best visibility possible. So we always want to be transparent about, where we're getting our metrics from. We use Muckrack and SimilarWeb, which are very prominent, measurements for tracking coverage in the industry. KPIs, we know what you guys would like to see, and then we also use the Barcelona and principles to make sure that we are meeting all of the KPIs that we set. And we also, in addition to our monthly coverage reports that we send over, we will send in real time coverage updates with the metrics that we have, and then also a little bit about the story so you can get a feel for the coverage that we are producing. And then from an agency-wide newsletter, the DR download, we send that weekly to give top updates on what we're seeing around the industry so that we can also look at the travel industry as a whole and make sure we're aligned with what media are interested in and what the rest of the industry is seeing.
And I just want to say, that's a tool actually that you can pass on to your stakeholders, because we know we're doing this work from this level, but they're doing it at their level every single day. And so some of the trends that we're seeing, some of the stories we're seeing, they can also use that material and benefit everyone, so.
So here's just a snapshot of what our coverage reports look like. We send these over monthly. We track everything from metrics to also, add value to see what you would be getting for your money. And then also backlinks that we know are so important to the destination and our stakeholders as well. We also look at, are they talking about the destination in the way that we would like them to talk about? Are they calling it a vendor base camp? Things like that. If we have quotes, images are also super important, seeing is believing, like we said. And then we'll just give a little overview of what we've done for the month. And we also this year have instituted with BBK quarterly reports so that we can all work together to make sure that, the creative and our PR work is in sync together, and so we can help both sides. So this is just a little bit of the metrics that we compile for those quarterly reports so that we can also show what we're doing and see what they're doing and see how we can better work together. And that's just a little bit about us and what we've done for the destination this year, but also over the past 7 years that we've worked with you as lovely partners. If you ever would like to reach out to us, you can see our contact information on the screen, but thank you so much for having us. It's been a pleasure to meet you all.
All right, great job. Do we want to take questions now? Because I think you have another presentation. You want to wait until after, Christina, since everyone's
I
presented?
think we can do questions now for Deborah Royal.
Okay, all right. Anyone
there are
have any
any.
questions for Deborah Royal other than, I think Charlene, Christina, and I did not plan on wearing black either. And I'm still convinced black makes you look skinnier. So. Anyway, I love what you guys are doing in tracking. It's really important. That PR message is really, really critical. Obviously, it's had a massive shift, I think, in the last 10 years, particularly probably in the last 5. So it's really, really exciting. Stephen and I share that we get very excited when we see us on the Today Show. So, all right, any questions for Deborah Royal?
Yeah, I don't know if it's so much
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, a question other than, and I'm looking forward to having BBK. I think, and you touched on it at the very end of just the fact that you two are talking and working together.
Yeah.
I know Christina
Yeah,
coordinating that, I think it's key, right? That you have your creative and your PR and let alone your
Lockstep.
media buying side that are leveraging that all together. But no, I thought it was great. I was able to sit in on the stakeholder meeting yesterday, and I thought just really great team coming together.
Yeah,
and our web agency is a part of that too
Yeah.
as well. We have all of them on those quarterly meetings because we all know they go hand in hand.
Real quick, on that DR link, Is it possible, and maybe you've
The
done.
download?
Yeah, could we get that sent out really soon? That'd be great.
Christina, you can either share email addresses that you wanted to go to directly, or I can leave it to you to just forward, so I'll leave that to you.
Thank you.
Okay. Good job. Go ahead, Mr. Murdoch.
I think it's great. I loved everything I saw. I'm a casino tourism guy. So you need both, right? And I love it that you got the Peppermillan article, very nice one up there. It's good for Reno because we're still in the gaming business that pays the taxes around here and pays the taxes out here. So we appreciate any gaming coverage we get, like Gordon Ramsay being in town, or you go to the Atlanta Steakhouse, it's one of the best in the city. So I just hope you guys don't forget about us.
Would we ever forget the Atlantis? Because we've got the best spa in town. We take media all the time.
I think what's really great about when we bring media to town, we rotate, right? So the last press trip happened to be at Best Bet, but we've had media at Peppermill, at Atlantis, and we make sure that we're sharing the love, because we also recognize where the love needs to be shared. And so we are cognizant of that.
Appreciate you remembering the row to Caesar's Entertainment down there.
So let me ask you this.
We
do
host regularly
your-
at the room.
For Stephen and Rick and John, do your PR partners send over information?
That was my question, is I don't think we do, and so it would make, it's a good idea, that's what I was gonna suggest, some of this is on us to say, hey, when we have an event or we have something that we think is noteworthy, that we provide it, and I don't know that it makes sense to provide it to Decker Royal directly, I think if we were to take, Christina was a central repository or something, where we just start firing stuff to them, and I was gonna make the same comment when Good Giant spoke too, that I think when it comes to local events and particularly with that relationship being in its infancy, I think it's important for us to know that that's part of our responsibility to provide them.
We would love to be on everybody's media list.
I would love for us to decide, I think we're an oversharer kind of agency, so we would love for people to overshare too, even if you think it might not be news. Let us determine, and we had a slightly different presentation yesterday for the stakeholders, but what we really talked about was how we interact, right? So we have hot leads where we regularly send out leads for media where we're looking for information. We have new resource press releases where again, we're looking for information. So this is very, very tiny, but we have a collective group email address, Reno, Tahoe, and Decker Royal, where all of us are on that. That's a great email address to be able to share with your teams to just send information to us. The goal of this is really to build up our existing stakeholder list so that when we're sending out hot leads, when we're requesting information, we're going to the widest pool possible to make sure we're capturing all of the information we should be capturing. And I think, again, these meetings will really, really help that. And I hope that was conveyed when we talked yesterday. We talked through the different processes and the different opportunities that are available. Because we hope that stakeholders feel like we are an extension of their marketing teams, not that we are other. That's the goal.
And it should work this way too, because oftentimes we are asking the stakeholders, can you do this for us? Can you host us? Can you provide a meal? Can you get us access to an attraction? But there may be times when you aren't doing something and you want us to do something for you. And we're happy to do that too.
Yeah, but and just to emphasize Rick's point, though, as much as we're looking to diversify, and certainly clearly we need to do that, and that's important to the community. We still need to, because I didn't hear much yesterday when they talked about gaming. The gaming, a lot of what we're doing is talking about diversifying and growing our base, and that's great. But gaming is still is a core component of what we do. And trying to figure out how we dovetail everything that we're doing, and so that gaming gets a piece of that.
What I would love is information on statistics about consumers gaming in the destination. And I bet your PR folks are sitting on data that I don't have. And that would be an interesting way to tell that story, because people have a perception about who's gaming, and that could be changing, and that could be an interesting story.
Sure.
And I know Christina talked about a local PR portal, which I think it would be good, get an interface. And then that information can just go from there, because one of the things we talked about was I have some friends that have a lot of interest in coming to Reno, and they said, hey, we want to do it during Dragon Lights. And have any of you guys been to Dragon Lights? It's excellent. And they were saying, we want to come up here and game, but we also want to do Dragon Lights. We want to, so like even Dragon Lights, even the airport some of the PR that comes out of the airport. So I know Christina wanted to do that, so like an interface where you guys can all interact, have your PR side of push that information on every capacity, because I also think, because I don't know, did we get any media for Gordon Ramsay? That was a big get.
Right.
That was a big get.
Gordon
So-
Ramsay, 2 restaurants in Reno, Nevada.
Yeah.
Downtown.
Yeah, so those are the kinds of messages we need to filter through because they're easy. I think Gordon Ramsay is an easy one for you guys to, you know, highlight. So, and I think, and Rick, will he come out? I know he was
Oh, yeah.
going to, but he had a
He was,
accident.
yeah.
Yeah, so when he does come out, I mean, that's a big
Yeah,
one.
I mean, even thinking about like, maybe it's possible to do, I don't know what the partnership looks like, right? But if he's game for media opportunities, like if he would sit down with a journalist, I mean, that's something we can also look at too.
All right, awesome. I want to give him a meat grinder, like a gavel. Anyway, go ahead, Eddie, and just raise your hand, because sometimes those lights, we don't see them well enough. Oh, yours was hiding behind there, Rick. Can we get those ones like the mining guys have, and then you just push it on your head? Go ahead, Eddie.
Thanks, Madam Chair. So I have a couple of questions and they'll sort of link them together. You gave us a lot of stuff, a lot of the history. I'm interested in what you would say was the biggest placement or biggest get in the past couple of years post-pandemic that you're really proud of for our region, and how do you up that with this upcoming year moving forward? And then I had a second follow-up to that.
Oh, I thought you were gonna give this up follow-up. I'm gonna leave it to you to say, I loved last week's piece in Food and Wine.
Oh, yeah.
I loved that. Personally, and I loved it because it really, wrapped our arms around so many different stakeholders. And it was all linked so that you could continue, but it really gave a huge depth and breadth to food. Well, I love overviews. We love an overview piece, and I think that's good. But I'm all about consistent coverage on different topics because it complements, I think, the work of the marketing team. Because unlike the marketing team and a lot of the publicity, we are professional beggars, right? So we can tell many more stories in many more places because there's not a cost associated with this. So I think in terms of big gets, I think we should be thinking about the stories we want to tell and why they're important to the destination, and then go after them with the publications that really suit them. And I think that's the way that media is really built today. Stacey talked a lot about clickbait and the way that we work with media. But when we think about media too, we have to know that when media work, oftentimes those freelancers, because there aren't as many on-staff people, they are getting paid also by the engagement on the content that they produce for those publications. So when we have a great relationship with a person that can tell a story in a place and we know that the content is being engaged with, then that's the kind of thing we want to go. I think that should be the goal. So you speak about gaming, Food and Wine is not going to cover it in the same way than a different kind of publication is going to cover it. So I think that's where our expertise is best suited, is to find the stories that are important to you and find the books that are going to cover them consistently in the best way, I think.
Yeah, that's fine. I think also, we'll have those stories where, like that Mercury News piece where we talked about, it was a full feature on Reno Tahoe and it was in a dry market, but it also went all over the country. So a lot of, local newspapers were seeing that story as well. And that's a real great one for us because it's great for investment. It was one journalist writing one piece, but it went everywhere. Right after the pandemic in 2020, a bar covered that Reno was like the best small city, and that one also went wide. Same with, the outside piece that we worked with BBK on that names Reno Tahoe the happiest place. We were also able to leverage that to Fox News, to House Beautiful. So sometimes, it's working with our partners to be able to leverage stories to a bunch of publications. Those are some great ones that we're always proud of.
And this now too, having the association with the local shop, because sometimes if we make national coverage, the fact that they can make it into local news because it talks about the work that you're all doing together to promote the city. So it's just a different way to tell stories. So I think that's really, I think that's what we need to do.
And the second part was plans for, like, what are you excited for this year? And can you reveal, is that?
Our secret plan is wondering.
Something up our sleeve, I don't know.
What is your vision? Yeah, that's what I was wondering. What do you see this year and the vision for Reno?
I can say I was inspired yesterday by listening to Stephanie about the changing perceptions and things about that. I was noodling some things about that. I think a lot of what we have to do is we have a prescribed sort of plan that we think about forward in the way that we do our press trips and the way that we focus on our media. But I heard a secret that there might be some focus on downtown, and I could get excited about that.
Okay.
Just saying.
All right, good. I just think the national perception is so critical because if you remember, the national perception for a long time was Reno 911 because that really was on the national stage.
Yeah, of course.
Now, we really embrace it. The hipsters love it. It's become very sort of iconic. And so we don't really shy away from that now. And so, you know, I think you can turn some things that are perceived into negative into very much positive. The hipsters love it.
Yeah.
And
We
I
have
don't
one
know.
article that referred to you as the next Portland, so like very much in the hipster.
We even had our Reno Police Department dress up like,
No.
we did,
Thank you.
Lieutenant
That is
Dingle, we
awesome.
did for the rodeo. Go ahead.
I'm sure so I had a second thing, and you brought up, your experience with youth sports and families traveling and, the drive market. And as someone who is, trying to figure out what this world looks like with 3 kids that are traveling in different areas.
Yeah.
Something that I haven't seen here, and I don't know how we get this message, but when we go, in my limited experience anecdotally, all these different cities around California, even down south, not to disparage Vegas, but even down south, and then, you know, Los Angeles and Phoenix, there's perpetual talk about crime, violence, safety. Don't leave anything in your cars outside of an arena. Don't leave things. I mean, and frankly, everywhere you go in California, there's a sign that says, don't leave something valuable in your car, right? Like, but you come to Reno, and I talk to parents from other places, they're like, oh, this is the place I can relax and feel comfortable and know that something in my car won't get stolen, or my car won't get stolen, or violence won't happen to my children. I guess from a regional perspective and differentiation, you know, maybe I'm a homer and I say, man, Reno Tahoe is amazing. Like, we have a safe, awesome community. And a lot of that goes to the credit of our amazing elected leaders who've worked hard to make this a safe place. But why is that not being told, I guess? And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe we're not. I think we are.
What I would say to that is I think that's told in every positive piece, right? If we're getting a positive association about the destination, that there's positivity there. What I would say is I would almost never try to teach someone that you are a safer destination than someone else. Because ultimately journalists like to dig. And while I feel very confident that the numbers are fantastic here, I would never want to invite someone to start a comparison like that. I think that there are better ways in the way that you talked about, fantastic articles about the destination. And particularly as we start talking about sports tourism and this trend for families, I think that also gives us an opportunity to go after a family market. Not that we haven't before, but this is a great reason, right? We always also, when we talk about data, the data that we love to focus on would be, again, this rise of sports tourism. Or, you know, maybe it's even creating a survey with SurveyMonkey. 15 years ago, I would have said, oh, we can never use SurveyMonkey in the media, but it's a legitimate, statistically relevant source now. It might even be creating like a Reno Tahoe sponsored survey that talks about how parents are stressed about sports tourism and how they look for destinations. And if we have the right kind of data about those kind of things, we can help tell our story without having to necessarily use the words safety and crime, because it will be inherent, if that makes sense. So that's how I think we would approach it.
Yeah, the continued positivity.
Exactly.
Okay. All right, any further questions?
One
Go ahead.
final comment, thank you. As the, great presentation, by the way, as the airport liaison representative here, you know, we realize how important it is for the airport and RSCVA to work together.
Yeah.
We've had it really good, you know, Mike and Darren, and even over at Edon, with Taylor over there, it's been doing great. I'd like to see some more coordination there, because we've got a lot of good things happening at the airport.
Yeah.
We just had the new ticketing counter expansion, ground transportation broke ground, the new loop road is done, new headquarters, new, you know, gateways.
Yeah.
So much going on, and I think if we can try pulling, you know, that in, sharing the message, because the message we're getting out of our new, ticketing counter area is, you know, fantastic.
Yeah.
But do people know that?
Right.
Do they know what we're expending? Do they know what our new, you know, gateways are gonna look like, which are just fantastic? Things like that. What is the, you know, what's the airport gonna look like in, you know, 3 to 5 years from now? You know, it's already starting to make some big changes. So I'd like to see somehow, and you know, maybe we'll get with Natalie, Christina, whatever, we, you know, figure out how we can get her in, get them more involved in the loop, because I think it only helps sell. You know, we're just, you know, we announced 3 new routes the other day.
I know, we don't celebrate them anymore.
Exactly.
And it's not
We,
good.
we need to bring that up a little bit more.
Celebrate them. Yeah.
And, you know, get the message out that Reno is expanding, Reno Airport is looking great. Still gonna have that small town effect, but we're having to catch up to what the demands are this day. So I think we can really parlay in that and, you know, till we get with Natalie and figure this out. But thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Thank
We appreciate you guys
Thank
being
you.
here. Okay, I think we're moving on. Oh, go ahead. Rick, you gotta go like, hey.
Got it.
You can't see this, so raise your hand.
Gordon lives downtown.
Oh, he lives in town?
No, the comment was, what was your priority in trending and you go downtown? Gordon lives downtown, his restaurants are downtown. Anyway, secondly,
Oh,
I'll
yeah.
talk to you. Kids' sports.
Yeah.
$3 a plate all around the country, different sports, softball, volleyball, basketball. What I want to say is, having done it, and you've got such great attractions, you've got the softball park out at Sparks, you've got, I mean, we have such a great opportunity for kids' sports on top of the track. I mean, this is a mecca of kids and sports and family activity. I think it really needs to be shouted out. It is safe in Reno. You should see all the women, there's more women's sports in this town than anything. I think that's a great article because I have 3 daughters. But the point I want to say is it's critical because they fill the hotels, they eat in the restaurant, they fly on the airplanes, they take cabs, they go to the little bars, and the parents get bored and they go play video poker. So, I mean, I think it's critical that gaming somehow slides into both because it does fit. The kids can go to the Circus Arcade or go somewhere and have a great outing, and it is safe. But that's, to me, is really important because it's a segment that Reno does very well at and could do even a bit more at.
We agree.
Totally agree with that. Okay,
All
all right.
Okay.
Christina,
Yeah.
go ahead, take it away, because I think.
Yes, next up, I'd love to invite Jen Eastwood from Good Giant. They are our new local PR agency coming off of discussion with this group of more advocacy in this local market. And they have only been with us a couple months, but I'm excited to have Jen share all that they have accomplished so far in such short time. They've really hit the ground running, so. Jen.
Good morning. Thank you. As Christine said, we've only been with you guys for a couple of months. Our presentation is much shorter than Dr. Royals. I'm hoping that 7 years from now, we'll have a more robust presentation for you. But as Christine said, I'm Jen Eastman. I'm the Director of PR for Good Giant. We've been RSCVA's in-state PR agency since July. For those of you that don't know Good Giant, we are a national creative agency. We specialize in gaming, hospitality, destination marketing. We're proud to be based here in Reno, and we bring a wealth of travel and tourism experience. Our PR team, there's 4 of us, and Madison Spiegel here with me today. She's my PR manager. We all live in Reno. We know this community inside and out, and we're proud to be here. We have years of experience working in tourism PR, and we've worked with recognizable clients like the Reno Rodeo, who was here today, come up a couple of times, Grand Sierra Resort, the Barracuda, Travel Nevada. I think one of the things that we bring to the table, one of our greatest strengths, is deep connections with the local media. We have great relationships with them, and that will help us secure really impactful coverage for you guys in the local and in-state markets and beyond. I've listed up here what we've specifically been contracted to do, but while our scope outlines some of our responsibilities here, really our main focus with you guys is helping the community understand why tourism matters. We're here to highlight the economic and social benefits that tourism brings to Northern Nevada, and we work in collaboration with Decker Royal to get that message across. we're really excited to collaborate with them. They're sharp people, and we think collaboration is the best way to really sing the praises of Reno Tahoe and reach our shared goal. We also support the in-house team, Ben and Celeste and Christina. We work closely with them, especially when it comes to advocacy and engaging the community. We're here to craft, curate, and execute PR campaigns that really lift Reno's profile both in the local community and beyond. So we've done a few things so far. It's only been a couple of months, just a quick kind of highlight of some of the things that we focused on. In July, we promoted the Autumn Bowl event at the National Bowling Stadium. We got that covered by all 3 local TV stations. We had the pleasure of talking about the new board leadership. In August, the big focus was the Pan American Bowling Championships. We were able to get interviews with the Spanish-speaking television station here and some other coverage that we thought was important. We did an economic impact pitch around Hot August Nights that Mike did an interview for, and the relaunch of visitrenotahoe.com. I don't know if anybody has worked on a website relaunch. It's not an easy thing to get PR for. I think it was a slow news day, but we'll take it. We had KRNB do an interview regarding that. And then so far in September, we promoted another bowling event, the Book Bowl at National Bowling Stadium, and then announcing Good Giant as your local PR agency. So all told, this has resulted in 61 mentions. That's just tracking within the state of Nevada. That represents an audience about 400,000 and a publicity value of over 75,000. Like Decker Royal, we use a company called Critical Mention. We also use Muckrack. Critical Mention is the online media tracking that we use because they're so robust in broadcast coverage, and we find that's especially important to a destination, especially locally, like what we're doing with you guys. Here's just a few of the coverage highlights. Channel 2 News, KRNB, Northern Nevada Business Weekly, Fox 11. And what we have planned coming up, the Strava partnership is one that we'll be talking about, supporting the Nevada Museum of Art with their Sea Dragons exhibit. And then of course, we've talked about this a lot this morning, but the indoor track, we'll definitely be doing pitches around that, looking at construction, giving sneak peeks during the install, getting media talking to the representatives from Mondo while they're here, and then a big focus on the ribbon cutting and the VIP event December 5th. So I just wanted to wrap and say thank you. We're really proud to be your agency. We're so excited to work with Decker Royal and BBK. I think this is such a great team because we're all committed to collaborating. And the in-house team, we have a great relationship with them too. So we are very excited to be your agency and partners as we work towards continuing to engage and educate the community about the value of tourism. So, thank you.
Okay, all right, any questions?
I love the bowling concept. Thank you. God's a cake concept, but thank you so much. That's really cool. I love it. I think it's so important that we use every asset we have here, whether it's the Reno Rodeo, Burning Man, art. I think we're unique to, no other city has what Reno Tahoe has. We're the gem that if people want, it's like a slipper that fits for, there's something here for everybody. A shoe that fits for everyone, so appreciate it.
All right, Alexis, go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I appreciate the presentation. If you could add one more thing to your list. Washoe County, we have an art trail app for Reno to Burning Man, and we, knock on wood, will have 7 Magic Mountains installed on the way out to Pyramid Lake. And so that will be something to highlight. So I'll make sure we keep you informed about that.
Yeah, that'll be huge. Alexis, will you elaborate a little bit? Does everyone know what that art installation is? Have you seen the national press on that? And it's been phenomenal. Maybe just
With the
give us a
county
little
is
snippet
paying,
for anyone that doesn't know what that is.
absolutely. The county's paying 1/3 of the cost to move that piece from Vegas. The piece is on BLM land and the Vegas airport is expanding, and it's a world-renowned artist who did these massive rock sculptures and neon colored, huge Instagram and what is it? TikTok presence for
It's
these.
very viral.
Yeah, 1,000 people a day visit in Vegas. We don't know if it will be like that in Reno, but I think it will get a lot of attention and also support our partners at the Pyramid Lake Paiute Tribe. So anyway, it's an exciting piece that hopefully we can also market the destination around, and I'm very excited about that. So I'll be in touch with you as we move forward with that.
Those of you that are not on TikTok, you're missing out.
I know.
But it's very cool because obviously, you know, it hits a demographic we typically don't have a lot of interaction. So it's had phenomenal attention, phenomenal. So congratulations.
Oh, great.
That's awesome. Go ahead.
Madam Chair, so one of the things that we as a board for the past year have talked a lot about is just the transition this board has gone on. I know I'm new, Greg's new, and Richard as well. And so getting into, I think, looking at the history of this board and looking at the future, really asking our local partners to understand or perhaps highlight this shift that's happened, I think, as a board, the temperature amongst all of us, the collegiality, the collaboration with staff working for positive, good things. And I know that historically, unfortunately, there's been things that have happened with this organization, but that's different. And so my ask is please highlight, because I think, unfortunately, our local media tends to always assume something, you know, wrong is happening or what have you, and they don't get to see, I think, the well-functioning machine that this organization is and this board is acting towards. And so whatever you can do to help magnify that message would be great.
Yeah, you bet. Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Welcome, glad to have you. Especially glad because as you forge really strong relationships, and I know our team has good media relationships, but they can always be improved. I mean, and I think the average person living in our community wants to hear good news. We get tired, we are so worn out with nothing, especially right now in the political season we're in. It's exhausting. I mean, you don't want to listen to any media because it's just overwhelmingly negative and toxic. And so really, those good stories that I know media is like, doesn't think people want, I think they're craving for that. So really, the more we can spread, to Eddie's point, the positive things that are happening, to kind of make people feel good. The awareness, I really appreciate your focus on the local community. When I first came on this board and I went to that DI convention, the national convention back in Baltimore, their top message the whole time, and I was new. I mean, I didn't know this space. I come from aviation, so I knew that space, but really the top message was to connect to your local community, to really make your local community understand why it matters. You know, my next door neighbor or someone who comes to my council meeting, why does it even matter? Most people are like, oh, tourism, downtown's for tourists, it's not for us. And how does that benefit locals? And why does it matter? Why does it matter? And the locals don't always get that, rarely get that. And they don't even know what is RSCVA. You know, you have to explain it to them unless it's in an article in the paper that a lot of times has been negative.
Right.
So really fostering that positive, why it matters to them. And from a tax perspective, it really does matter, you know, financially and fiscally for everybody. And so I think those messages, we can't do enough of to really foster that and grow that. And obviously my partiality for Sparks is really the story of Golden Eagle. You know, Golden Eagle Regional Park, $30 million economic impact, but it being a place, and I was there last night watching my grandson play Pop Warner football. And they've got across the board, it's booked every weekend, the whole year. Everything from the little guys playing Pop Warner to baseball, to soccer, to senior softball, the softball tournaments coming in from all around, you know, it really is the largest AstroTurf complex in the whole nation. And people come around that curve, you know, they keep driving out going, where are we going? And they find that, and it really, yeah, it's so something, you know, that is a focus for me, would be Golden Eagle and things in tournaments that are coming out there, which we work with you, with the team here. So thank you.
Okay. Anything else? No?
Just one
Go
more
ahead.
quick thing. Hi, Jen, thank you. I'm glad you're on the team. Also, we need to keep focusing on stewardship. This organization is on the Lake Tahoe Stewardship Plan, that sits on that. And it's important to educate the community that we are doing our part and not just bringing visitors and tourists here to the community, that we're also trying to, be good stewards of the destination.
Yeah, that's a great message.
Okay, all right, Christina, I'm gonna send it back to you.
That's all that I have.
Thank you.
That's it, okay, we're gonna wrap that up.
They're part of our presentation.
Great. Moving right along. We are now gonna go into item D3. Reno Sparks Convention and Visitors Authority Department updates, and I'm gonna ask you to keep it to 15 minutes.
Got it. Thank you, Madam Mayor. Mike Clarion for the record today. Department updates we provided by myself, Mr. Jimenez, Ms. Ernie, Mr. McDonald, and Courtney Jager, and you guys are on the record, 15 minutes. You heard it from the mayor, so we will go very fast, hopefully.
Hold on a second. It's gonna be like that too.
There we go.
I'm gonna have.
14 minutes and 47.
Yeah. All right, first of all, I'm happy to announce the July and August Spotlight Employee Month winners. The July Spotlight winner was Ernesto Loa, who was the stagehand lead in our facilities department at the Reno Event Center. Our August Spotlight winner was Bev Borda, who was the box office senior manager for all of our facilities. On Thursday, September 5th, we held our inaugural Spotlight Employee of the Year Awards banquet. Thank you, board members, Councilwoman Charlene Bybee, Mr. John East, for your participation. Our 3 Spotlight Employee of the Year finalists were R.C. Dugan from Finance, Maria Estrelado from the Executive Staff and Sales, and Daniel Marquez from Sales. I'm happy to announce that the RSCVA Spotlight Employee of the Year for fiscal year 24 was Mr. Daniel Marquez. On Thursday, September 19th, we held Trent Lafaria's retirement party. Trent is here today. Thank you, Trent, for joining us at the RSCC. Again, thank you, board members, Mr. Esquaga, Councilwoman Bybee, and Mr. J for joining us. We all chipped in and wanted to purchase Trent a Harley Davidson as a going away gift. We came up a little short, so we settled for wine and cigars. We obviously went Trent nothing but the best in his retirement.
See what they give you here, nothing.
Right? Congratulations, Trent.
Hate that. Because he's so humble and he's very quiet, but if you know Trent, he's amazing and has done a phenomenal job. We have been really lucky to have you, Trent, every step of the way. I don't think anyone has taken care of those facilities like the way that you possibly can. So big shoes to fill. We're gonna miss you.
He's gone.
Oh, now it's all you.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Big boots.
Yeah.
a great,
That's right, but I shouldn't say it's boots.
and a great segue, not to say
And Jose
out with
knows
the old
that.
and in with the new, because it's kind of like out with the old and in with the old.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Martinez, who is, we have a good relationship.
Oh,
That's right. Who's been with the organization for
30 plus
30 plus years, has been promoted from executive director to vice president of venue facility operations. Thank you.
Wow.
Okay, congratulations. Moving-
You were 10?
Pretty close, pretty close. I also wanted to update the board on key initiatives and activities for August and September. On August 8th and 9th, Director of Event Development, Valerie Segarra, VP of Marketing Christina, and myself hosted executives from AG and Golden Voice. This team oversees the production, execution, and promotes several major music festivals and concerts, including Stagecoach, Coachella, the Taylor Swift Eras Tour. Thank you, Mayor Shivi, for joining us for lunch and your assistance in promoting Reno Tahoe. On September 18th, Regional Director of Convention Sales, David Iomedes, VP of Sales, Mr. Don McGinnis, and myself hosted 20 meeting planners and their events and their client, 20 meeting convention clients and their guests, and 4 sales representatives from partner hotels for the San Diego Padres versus Houston Astros baseball game. Not only did the clients have an amazing time, but the Padres won the game, and we witnessed back-to-back home runs in the bottom of the 8th inning. Quite a feat. Last week, the sales department hosted a Reno Tahoe Experience Band featuring the Jason Aldean concert at the Nugget Event Center. We also hold events at Ranchera, the National Auto Museum, and Midtown. Thank you to the Nugget for hosting the rooms. Last Saturday, RSCVA Vice President hosted members of the board for the Nevada versus Eastern Washington football game. Thank you, Mr. Long, Mr. Esquaga, Mr. Ablisser, Mr. Jay, and Commissioner Hill for joining us and watching the Wolfpack bring home a win. Yes, yesterday we hosted our Q2 stakeholder, which you've heard a little bit, stakeholder meeting, which you've heard about a little bit today at the National Bowling Stadium. Presentations were given by our national PR agency of record, Decker Royal, local PR agency of record, Good Giant, and our agency of record, BBK. Thank you, Mr. Esquaga, Mr. Long, and Mr. East for your participation. This Friday, we will host a second Reno Tahoe Experience Band with Dirk Bentley concert at the Nugget Event Center. Thank you to Silver Legacy for hosting the rooms. Next week, Director of Event Development, Valerie Segarra, VP of Marketing, Christina Ernie, and I will attend the Del Mar Food and Wine Festival in San Diego to scout the event. There is mutual interest by both organizations to look at a similar event in Reno in 2026. As part of our goal to add art to our facilities, I'm happy to provide pictures of the mural at the Reno Sparks Livestock Event Center in Reno that was literally completed yesterday.
Who did that?
So the artist, his name is Javi Blanco. He's a Basco from Spain who is here, and he's actually doing a major project in Carson City. Amazing work. Do we have the time lapse in here as
Yes,
well?
next slide.
So next slide will give you,
Well, one
so,
more.
so on the, this is on the, obviously interior of the arena. This is the doors to the dock bar, and a little history that I learned about yesterday that I did not realize, that dock bar is actually named after a horse that was named Doc. So hence the rendering of the horse, and on his halter, and you can't really see it, but if you look close, it actually says Dock Bar on his holster. And then we have a very quick time-lapse video of literally what he accomplished, I think, in less than 72 hours.
We were very lucky to have him be able to take time because he was coming out here for that project in Carson City, but we were able to squeeze in some this effort at the Livestock Event Center.
You wrote them in.
Well, Tim.
And we're also able to get a nice feature with Telemundo came and talked to the artist
That's
and took some
awesome.
video of him as he was in progress as
Good
well.
job, man. Good.
That's amazing, 72 hours.
Wow.
Oh, and it's an incredible mural.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
And I assume you're sharing that on social.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. This literally got sent last night at 9 p.m.
That's
and
so cool.
our
Yeah.
team was able to get in the PowerPoint first thing this morning.
Because
And
the
if we-
before and afters are the ones that go viral. They're like.
Yeah,
Yes.
and as we've communicated to the board in the past, Madam Mayor, is that our goal is to complete one mural per quarter in our various board facilities. So we obviously achieved that at the RSCC last quarter, RSLEC this quarter, and we're looking at either the National Bowling Stadium or RSC for the next.
That's
So
great.
it's great.
Go ahead.
Sure, Mike,
Yes.
is there a way, because we have a lot of students that are in arts education. I think it would be such an amazing connection with some of our art schools
Bring them down.
and maybe just offer it to some.
I love it.
to some-
Great idea.
Just
Local.
offer it, maybe just a nice little half an hour walking.
Local is really important. I also think when the volleyball girls are here, having blank spaces we saw at the art show,
Mhm.
some of the blank spaces, they did this one area where it was, chalk from the fire. Did you see that?
Wow.
They had remnants of, but it's not chalk, it's, what do you call it? It's charcoal.
But
It was charcoal. It was really unbelievable. So I think spaces where people can also create, and especially that young demographic,
Yeah, great
they
ideas.
could really interact with the space that you guys provide instead of just feeling like it's a concrete square.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Great
Love
ideas.
it.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Good job.
Very quick update on the indoor track. There's been a lot of discussion this morning. We've received 7 of the 12 shipments have been delivered to the RSCC. We have representatives from Mondo out of Italy will arrive next week, and installation of the track will begin starting Monday. The VIP ribbon cutting ceremony will be on Thursday, December 5th, with the inaugural indoor track meet taking place that weekend. My last slide is Courtney is going to provide a fiscal year recap real quick in her update, and then speak to July and August as well. But I wanted to specifically address August. In September of 2023, we set a record for taxable revenue at $54,934,713. As we have communicated to this board in the past, from October 23 to July of 24, we have seen taxable revenue for every month slightly below prior year, anywhere from 2 to 11%, depending on the month. And The stars aligned in August of 2024, and I'm happy to report that not only did we obviously exceed prior year, we set an all-time record surpassing September of 23 with room tax revenue at 55,840,967, which is 900,000 higher than September of 2023. So of course, the next question is what drove these results? And I kind of provided a summary here, but you'll see that cash room nights were up over 16,000 to prior year, or 5.2%. Occupancy was up 3.9%. Convention rooms, which we all know creates a base and allows us to establish a foundation and provide yield opportunities, was up 8.8%. Comp rooms were up 18.6%. Tourism OTA was third-party distribution, which Mr. Jimenez will speak to in a minute. We're up 19.5%. Ironically, FIT rooms, which is direct bookings to websites or call center, were down 10.5%, and the ADR was relatively flat, slightly down at 156. With that, that concludes my update. Any questions before I pass the clicker?
Mr. Murdoch?
Looks good. I hope, average daily rate's starting to scare me a little bit, but other than that, it looks real good. That was good to come out where we were going. Now, hopefully our trajectory is changing.
Yeah, we do anticipate, I'm sorry, Mr. Murdoch, just to interject. We do anticipate, because September 23 was a record, obviously prior before August of 24, that we most likely will be down to September 23 and September 24. I think really looking at the last calendar quarter year, October, November, December, we're really painting a picture of where the market is, whether we go back to the prior 10 months of being down, or whether we have stabilized and we ride this momentum of August moving forward to finish out the calendar year.
Yeah. Stephen, I want you to jump in.
Just a couple of things. I do think, and I think that's great news. I think strong hot August nights, again, some of these legacy events are key. And I think they've really, like a lot of things, they ebb and flow. I think they're really strengthening back. I believe we had an extra weekend.
Yeah, calendar.
Right? Yeah. I think that helped. I think to your point with September, and again, back to the legacy event discussion with the air races moving on. Yeah, it's gonna have an impact. I think it's great that we're able to recapture some in October, but no, I think, like a lot of things, we've been on such a healthy trajectory that, you get a little spoiled, and I think we have to be realistic too. I'd love to see this trend continue, but I think it's great.
Great feedback. Thank you.
Can I just jump in on one
Yes.
problem? And I really need the support of this board and to understand this. Rick knows, because I've had a really difficult time. The city of Reno has been very challenging to work with on special events. I'm getting a lot of negativity. Alexis left. I called her, I'm like, where's the secret sauce? What is going on? And it's something that Mike and I have talked about putting the legacy events under this body to make sure that we do everything we possibly can. I'm sure you probably saw in the media that we almost did not have the Hot August Night Parade, which is pretty iconic. And that would have been very sad. And I think there is some negativity of working with the city. We're changing things over there. Obviously, I'll have a new city manager come hopefully January, and we will reorganize and structure. So, but I do think it's really important that we play a critical role so that we are not adding any more additional red tape, and also looking at the cost because it has become more expensive. But do I think that we should be able to offset that? Because we really got to look at the goal and focus that we got to bring these events in now more than ever. These events are what's going to save us, quite honestly. So I want to apologize for that. So I've really jumped in on that side of the city, but we really probably need to all be pushing forward with a message how important these legacy events are, and not just sort of sit on the sidelines. Everyone's got to get their voice. I need your support on the city side. And so I think that could be a possible solution to making sure these events grow, but also that they don't come in and have this negative experience. So, anyway, go ahead.
Real quick, 30 seconds. Great job, Mike. I think this is kind of following the trend line with the economy. We just got some really good reports today as far as the strength of the economy. GDP was reaffirmed at 3%. dollars claims coming down. So I think we're paralleling and things are looking pretty good for the economy. At one point, yes, we will have a recession. I know, Gordon, you've kind of been budgeting for that. We know we'll have it, but I think we're doing a good job. But I think as long as the economy stays strong, as long as we, you know, kind of what the mayor's talking about and just kind of get all this all on the same page. And we're getting more and more there, getting the airport more involved. I think, you know, we're heading in the right direction. So great job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, super. Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Rick.
Thank you. You know, I think it's important too that you look at the rodeo or you look at these legacy events. They sometimes need help. But I think there's a part that they've got to come back and give you help. How do you expand them? How do we make them better? How do we get offshoots of it at different times of the year? You know, it's just like Hot August or Street Vibe did a spring rally, and then they do the winter or the fall rally. But I think it's important that we look at these legacy events and look at how we ran them. I know we just brought the Latin Fest downtown. It was a smash success. First year, we're doing Hispanic entertainment. I mean, I think you guys really have to kind of oversee that and help us launch in that. We're gonna put the dollars up and get it done. But at some point, you know, I think you guys are really the body that has to help us take these events and start them and then make them bigger. I mean, when they need seed money or you buy a convention or an event here, that's what we're here for. We have a harder time selling. We have a uniqueness in the city. We have an arch that's iconic and everybody wants to drive under it or ride under it or stand under it or let snow fall and take a picture. So I think, you know, it's important that this year's events are one of the things that will save us. Our September is decent because we had a Latin Fest that packed it in. I think we really need to understand our audiences here too as well for the events we do, because there's a lot of different opportunity. But I really think we need you guys to lead us, because the only thing we got in Reno, we need air service, we need events, we need conventions. And the FIT will follow if there's demand.
Right. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Well, I was just gonna piggyback on what Rick said, and to your point, Madam Chair, we have that special event committee, and I know that we're working on language to organize ourselves and have that charter set so we can take action. I think that committee actually has people from the community that we could bring in. Can we just, I mean, why not use, frankly, the power that we have designated to us through that to ensure that these things can happen or grow, and that enables our staff. So I think I was appointed to serve on that, but I think let's use it.
So one of the things that Mike wants to implement is mirroring Las Vegas events. So he's gonna bring that forward, and I think it's gonna change dramatically how we interact with them. And then also, I will take full responsibility on the city side. That's on me, so I wanna apologize to everyone. But I also am going to have a special meeting in October for specifically special events, and I want you to encourage everyone to come from your property to your property to any special event in the city. It needs to be known. We need to hear that feedback so that we can change the way that we do business and really be receptive to these events. I have to have you guys have people there being very direct. It's really, really critical. So, and that means also, Mike, you know, to represent this body, to be there. Everyone's got to be at the table. It's got to be loud and clear, because things have shifted dramatically that are not going to be helpful, and we can't move forward that way.
You know, Madam Mayor, I want to say one thing. Thank God you did make the call to Hot Dogs Nights, because they had left downtown.
Yeah.
There's no reason for that. Also, when you look at financing events, or you look at financing conventions, or the art show you guys do, the impact, but you got to figure out, I think it's important that we work with each other in in-kind services, you know, instead of, no, this is what it costs, you got to do it. There's always an angle, there's always a way to make an event happen.
Yeah.
And I mean
That's right.
that's important, that you guys are at the table, the city of Sparta, we're all at the table, Bryan County, thank you. We got to figure this out. I mean, we can't price ourselves. We're begging for, we're not Vegas. Vegas, entertainment capital of the world. We're a different destination. We have slow seasons. We need help. We need help. So it's going to take all of us here getting together and realizing how to do, whether it's in kind or what monies are needed.
And I want to
Sponsorship.
restructure some of that committee because I know you have a lot on your plate, but it would be very beneficial to have you there. Okay. All right. Thank you.
You gotta throw them, don't
Anyway, okay.
Just a couple comments based, first of all, Mike Larrigator for the record, thank you for the feedback, well stated and appreciated, and we are in line with you, in this organization until we talk about this at nauseam and senior staff and have these discussions. I have met with the leaders of the legacy events, and I know what their pain points are, and we are working with obviously the mayor and the city to address those to the best of our ability. We are there to support them. Also, we have approved a feasibility study in conjunction with the Reno Rodeo's request, and we should have that back in the next 2 weeks, looking at their opportunities for expansion and what that represents in terms of room nights and economic impact. So that is in the works. Hot August Nights, I had lunch with Denny Johnson last week. They are looking at opportunities to grow Hot August Nights, and we are again in partnership with them looking to make that happen, which is, we think, good for obviously the entire community. There's going to be, I'm very confident that we will be making an announcement in the next week or two, a partnership with an organization in Reno that is going to bring an event to Reno right after Memorial Day, which is going to be very well received, and especially for our downtown stakeholders. So we're excited about that. And then, of course, Valerie Segarra continues to pound the pavement literally, and conversations that we are having and the people that we are bringing to Reno, I'm confident will bring opportunities in the future. This is a process, and it's similar to, as I mentioned to someone today, it's like starting a sales department from scratch. It takes time, and it does. And so please just be patient. We will get there. We are getting people to the destination. There's a lot of aha and eye-opening moments by people that we are bringing here, even from AEG. And we take for granted that people know about our destination and what we offer, and they don't. And so seeing is truly believing. We have to get them here, and we will. Christine and I are going to San Diego in next week, I think it is, or week after. And so we are confident that we will develop into a version of what Las Vegas is. It's just going to take time and patience.
Yeah. I do want to commend you. It was really exciting sitting down with Coachella, and you guys toured and did a phenomenal job, and they were just blown away. They love this destination. Very, very cool. And so they kind of have a lot of high hopes for Reno.
They do.
Big vision, and that is super exciting to see.
Great.
So,
Thank you.
good job.
Okay.
Okay, we don't have a lot of time left.
Actually,
Thank you very much, Art.
We're above time.
We, no, it's not.
It took us
So
all
I
that
would
time.
just ask,
21 minutes.
I would just ask, because I know people have reports, but I'm
Yeah.
just curious if there's anything that you think critical to share with the board from your departments.
Yeah. So what we were just very quick, our staff, I think has 4 slides. It's just a recap of tourism. We can table this until October if you would like. So.
I'd like to keep a meeting really
Are you up, Art?
quick.
Are we up?
I would like
That's-
to show, I would like to
I
show
wanna see
one
all the
slide,
ups.
one slide.
Okay,
Us?
perfect, yeah,
And what are you doing for the slow season, winter season?
Okay.
yeah.
I'll
Let's
show
see
you
that.
one slide, because I like to look through the windshield and not the rearview mirror.
Yeah,
So, year to date in August, July and August, where are we here? We go. We came in at 11,000 room nights ahead of last
wow.
July and August. So we've turned the corner. Okay?
Yay,
All right, we had growth in every tourism channel sector. Okay, and we saw a lot of growth in the travel agent sector. That goes back to a lot of our training programs that we have and partnership marketing programs in this sector. And especially since July and August, we don't have a lot of activity going on because our properties, we let the properties do what they are good at doing during the summer months. But we're up 17,000 room nights in the tourism sector already for the first 2 months of the fiscal year. In fact, the only channel that did not see growth was a wholesale channel. And that's because as cruise grows and Europe grows, it impacts this destination.
100%. That is fantastic.
I'm gonna fly.
Okay, Rick, any feedback?
We're gonna fly real quick. They're gonna do a very quick, update. BBK is here, our agency of record, Victoria
Yay.
Simmons, Stephanie
Love it.
Larkout and Kevin Crane. And they're just gonna do a quick overview of what we talked about yesterday in the stakeholder meeting. on how we activated, we know our brand is important to align with the values of our potential visitor, but we also want to share the brand that aligns with our community and who's here and who can help share that story. So,
Yeah, so hello, Victoria from BBK. Always so happy to be able to be here and share a quick update with you guys. So we, of course, had a wonderful day yesterday at the stakeholder meeting with all of our amazing agency partners. We also spent the afternoon with one of our local production partners. So we work with 3 Sticks, who's a local editing and videography house. And so we were working and collaborating with them on finishing up some of the videos that will roll out later this winter. So if you remember last time when we were here in June, we talked about some of the insights from, right, the visitor profile, the brand health study, the advertising effectiveness that were fueling, right, the way that we build the marketing plan. And today we're building on that a little bit, right? As we think about all the constituents that the brand has to serve. Visitors, right, make up a big piece of that. We've got a lot of research to fill that gap. But right, as Christina mentioned, and even, Charlene, you mentioned, it's important that, right, we're building a brand that reflects the values and the creative energy of this community. And so our industry stakeholders are a really big part of that. So we've spent the last month doing one-on-one interviews with the industry stakeholders to make sure we understood what's critically important to them so that the work that we are all doing collectively is ultimately helping them be successful. So Stephanie is going to share a super top line look at what we observed as some of the key takeaways, but I do believe you have the full report in your packet. We're happy to answer any questions that might come up as a result of you being able to do kind of a further deep dive into that. Yeah.
So as Victoria mentioned, we did talk to 14 stakeholders. As you can see here, they represented pretty diverse industries within the destination. Everyone had a really passionate and vested interest in the future of Reno Tahoe. We talked about a variety of topics: current state, future state, equities, challenges, essence, and all of those great things that help us inform an authentic brand that represents this community and can attract the right traveler. So I could talk about this for a long time, but I certainly won't. Top 5 takeaways of things that we learned from these conversations that are going to inform how we work on the brand moving forward. Number 1, stakeholders are really energized about the future growth of this destination, certainly recognizing there's been a lot of growth to date, but also feeling like the best is yet to come. And there's a lot of revitalization and growth happening in neighborhoods, in the airport, air access, events are changing and growing. So just a lot of potential that's happening. And I think our opportunity in working with RSCVA is to continue to hone where we are today, right? It's not just about where we were, and we're certainly excited about where we're going, but how do we talk about and hone who and where we are today so that we can be an accurate representation of travelers when they're looking to come to this destination. Second, we've talked a lot about this today, but we still need to draw that national understanding, that broader perception of who we are and what makes us special. We still have some familiarity challenges, even though we've seen some growth there. We still surprise people. They're surprised by the amazing beauty, the rich culture, the local energy, the things that we have. So we need to continue to tell that story to drive that sense of awareness and familiarity of Reno Tahoe. 3 things that stakeholders felt really passionate about: abundant natural beauty, the climate, what it feels like, and all the activities because of beautiful nature that can be part of this destination. Proximity to incredible offerings, whether it's entertainment, gaming, arts, culture, history, the ability for it all to be right here. And then something I'm really excited about personally is that local energy and feel. We have a ton of small businesses that really make this place have that local personality and energy of the people who call it home. And I think travelers are really looking for that. And I think we can really highlight that as part of this destination. Stakeholders are really excited about RSCVA, unprompted, just confidence in Mike and the leadership. Confidence in where the brand is going, conversations really affirmed the direction of the brand, opportunity to engage them and educate more on the marketing efforts. Many weren't aware of the campaigns that we do because they're local. So we have opportunity to really draw that advocacy out. And then finally, from a vibe and energy perspective, Reno Tahoe is really local and rooted, so much history, within the destination. We have this active and contagious energy and ambition to grow that draws people together, that they can collaborate and feel part of it. And that we have this really just dynamic and energetic and inclusive approach to how we're going to grow. So a lot of great things that we learned in the stakeholder interviews that are going to inform how we continue to shape the brand. This quote is really just about that our time is here if we're willing to really reach out and grasp it. So thank you for the short time. We appreciate it. We're happy to be here and excited for the future.
Thank you so much. And again, the full report is included in your packets and all of the interviews and quotes pulled out from our stakeholder leaders. I'm going to fly through my end of year recap for fiscal year 24 from a marketing standpoint. First and foremost, I want to assure everyone that marketing exceeded all of their goals by an average of 121%, which did not come easily. I'm really proud of the team, the staff, and the agencies who got us here. This comes off of, with all the data and research that we saw on the state of the travel industry and economy, and where some saw challenges, we looked at it as opportunities. We took the opportunity to make tweaks to our brand, launch a new campaign, launch a state-of-the-art website, capture new imagery, and really better align our target audience with who is traveling at the time, who's currently traveling with the economic changes. With that being said, Future Partners, who conducts our annual visitor profile study, our ad effectiveness study, and our brand health study, has provided some of the following stats. One of them that I really like is 1 in 3 who were out aware booked a trip to Reno Tahoe. Here's an overall view of our media from the past year, really impressive. The number I'd like to call out is we had 39 million ad interactions. This is something that's really important to me. It's who's actively engaging with our ads. You can pay to put something in front of someone. You can't pay them to click on it. So that's really impressive that we're creating really engaging content. With the engagement, we also discovered more travelers. We really made our dollars go farther, and we really were able to expand who was seeing our content. So more travelers were discovering our content throughout the country. In addition, we drove a record engagement on our website. We were reaching new users. We were with top of the funnel tactics. Our re-engagement campaigns, we really heightened this past year. We increased returning users, and this didn't impact, on the next slide, our commit and plan actions. These are indicators that we really look at as someone who's actively engaged in potentially planning a trip. 22% growth in our email database, 6,500 more visitor planners getting out into homes. And our conversions on our website, we also saw increase significantly, and most of this was from some of our paid social efforts. We really got creative with how we were sharing some conversion tactics on paid social and saw these numbers increase significantly. A lot of this was rooted on our No Limits campaign that we launched in late 2023. You've heard me talk about ad nauseum, but this campaign has resonated so well, and we feel really helped resonating with our audiences from M&C and leisure, and has integrated throughout all of our efforts. Our brand partnerships are one of our most impactful tactics that I feel that we can do. Here's a number of our partners that we worked with. Quickly running through, we are not risk adverse in our marketing department. When AI and ChatGPT was on the rise this past year, and BuzzFeed reached out to us and they said, would you guys like to be the first destination to develop AI generated itineraries? We say yes. And that paid off. We got major record-breaking interactions with some of that content. In addition to that, some of our innovative technology efforts have been recognized on a national level. One of our marketing team members spoke at ESTO, the U.S. Travel Conference, just last month. With her speech, someone from the state of Washington saw her speak and has invited her to come back and speak at their state governor's conference next month in Washington to share what Reno Tahoe is doing with AI and technology to the entire state of Washington. Condé Nast, some of the stuff we're partnering with them under their umbrella. We partner with GQ, influencers, Condé Nast Traveler, working with some really engaging social activations with garnering more than 500,000 views. Also, these placements just go across all of their channels. Outside Magazine, Outside as they rebranded, but in addition to our custom content placements, a lot of you know we worked with them. We were the first destination to host their gear guide. Typically, they partner with a ski resort. They wanted to partner with Reno as a ski destination. And so we worked with one of our downtown properties, Thank You J Resort, and our local Washoe County, ski resorts, Mount Rose and Diamond Peak, and they hosted the 2025 Gear Guide, the best in gear from all across ski and snowboard here in Reno, which was really impressive. This is our second year with Leave No Trace, the nonprofit with sustainability. One of the stats that I wanted to call out is this video we saw, that was posted on Matador. It's a 4-minute video, had more than 321,000 completed views. When was the last time you watched something over 4 minutes online? That's pretty incredible. So this is resonating. We're getting messaging out there. This is our second year. We got over 1.4 million views on Leave No Trace's social this past year, really spreading the message of our destination and how to treat it responsibly and how important it is to us. Bowlers, Rick mentioned this earlier. I just want to run real quick through some of the new things we did this year. We created new commemorative stickers that had this year's tournament that were wildly successful. We partnered with local businesses, not only to welcome the bowlers with tabletops and welcome signage, but also discounts for bowlers to make them feel welcome and the love throughout our city. One of the other initiatives that was new this year that I was really proud of with the team is we worked with Hall of Famer Pat Buckner, and she did a video series, 9-video series called Spare Time with Pat Buckner on what to do here in your free time while being a part of the tournament. And she went around and interviewed local business owners and showed us from her perspective what she loves about Reno Tahoe.
That's awesome.
Our influencer partnerships are some of our bread and butter. Here's a couple of them that we hosted over the year. We hosted over 20 of them. Some of our strategies, you know, we've hosted influencers who come back every year who've been coming here for over a decade. We also host some that have been here for the first time. From hosting David Nugent, who highlighted AAPI Heritage Month, to the Bucket List family, who hosted a sold-out meetup in downtown Reno. Some of these influencers with our ongoing relationships, just a couple of key things we got this year is, you know, in addition, their followers look to see what they're doing new in Reno Tahoe every year. They expect them to come back to Reno Tahoe because they know how much they love this region. And we are seeing engagement rates well above industry averages, and we're comparing them to other CVVs within the state and the region. And this is because our audience is highly engaged with these influencers. With the Bucket List family, we were included in their bestseller book with National Geographic as one of their top 50 destinations in the world to go to. And with Just Wandering and Ever Changing Horizon, they partnered with Facebook Meta, and Meta launched a new glasses with Ray-Bans, and they shot their content of launching those glasses here in the Reno Tahoe area. And really cool, you put on the glasses and you can say, hey Meta, what am I looking at? And it would tell you exactly what's in front of you with their innovative technologies. And that was free of charge to us. You know, they just love our destination and love giving them that extra love. So pretty incredible. M&C also saw some great numbers. Sorry, I'm flying through all of this. I'll breathe later. But we saw that our No Lateness campaign really resonated with our audiences from M&C. We did some targeting segments from a C-suite to a meeting planner audiences. And this new elevated creative, we're seeing incredible results. Last year, we all know we have our air service fund. Wanted to just provide in your packet some numbers from our campaign where we talked about the nonstop flight from Atlanta to Reno Tahoe and some of our ads and the results there with YouTube over 1 million views. So that's all I have for you guys today. You have your July and August numbers. That's what these slides are if you want to review them for M&C and leisure advertising. Please reach out to me if you have any questions. Before I pass it over to Ben, as the clicker's making its way down, I mean, our team worked so hard this year and I'm so proud of them, our agency partners, our influencer partners, everyone to just really doing a great job. So I just want to say thank you to the entire team.
That's awesome. Fantastic. And I love that you get the influencer side, because now more than ever, that's what people are sort of looking to. We always say, oh yeah, I bought something online and got influenced, right?
So true.
I got influenced for those jeans.
Exactly.
But I think it's so critical because really that is sort of the future of what we're gonna see in tourism. And those are people that we can convert. So,
absolutely. And we're even working with them. So followers, if you follow one of the influencers we brought in, you actually get discounts on local activities and places to stay. And we work with our partners. So it's almost their own business where it's like, oh, exclusively for Bucket List followers, use code BL25 for 25% off. So those are some other new innovative ways we're working with them as well.
yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. Is it you?
Very
All
quick,
you.
very brief. Ben McDonald, Senior
Love it.
Director of Communications and Public Affairs, and we got a great update this morning, so I'll give you about a 40-second update to save you on some time. We had a great success, as Decker Royal pointed out, over the last fiscal year, hitting all of our key metrics, all the data is in there, but most of this information you've already been introduced to, and we've spent a lot of time talking about it with Decker Royal. They're doing a fantastic job. One of the benefits of having Decker Royal on board is just the accessibility that they offer. They are ingrained in the community. We are constantly working together on a daily basis. We're in constant communication. They are reaching out to stakeholders. They're reaching out to hotels. We are delivering weekly updates on development in the destination, whether it's hotels, new flights, air service development as it relates to construction at the airport. We are having those talks almost every single day. Also, last week, they send out information to hoteliers and stakeholders to get their direct information as well, and put together quarterly news releases that function as basically a primary output of a listing that reporters can go and look at and find out what's going on throughout the destination, and they're constantly in contact with our regional stakeholders. So mics, obviously, we talked about that being very important. Earned media, definitely a very different beast than paid media. Looking at July and August, we're pacing well in all the major metrics that we're tracking and hitting some of those key markets as well as key publications. And locally, very excited to be working with Good Giant. They're doing a great job so far through 2 months of our partnership. This was board direction to have more advocacy and engagement in the community. And I think we found the right partner. Jen and her team are doing a fantastic job. Very excited to have them on board. And our communications team is small but mighty. We work very closely with all the department heads of different departments, specifically on the annual plan, which we'll be discussing very briefly in just a few minutes.
All right, good job.
Yeah,
All right, I'm gonna hand it over to Stephen. I want you to piggyback on what you have produced, because it's super sexy. I love it. And then we'll have questions.
I feel like this is show and tell. And I got the energy buzz off of the.
Yeah.
And I should have had the last cup of coffee. But yeah, but you know, this is something that I'm gonna back up. I've been wanting to do this for some time, and then it's like, no, and then I went to the stakeholder meeting yesterday. I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna come for show and tell and share this, but it's an in-house publication that we produce inside the Pepper Mill. This goes back to, we've all stayed at hotels. You have kind of the visitor guide from that.
The hotel book.
The hotel book.
They don't produce anymore.
Right, and in that gap, and I don't know how many of you, and I'll be real quick, but Katie Silva is our Director of Communications and Digital. Aaron Robbins is our Director of Marketing, and a gentleman named Mike Cowan does our creative. It was really them going, hey, we could actually do something in-house that really sells the area. We took the concept to Bill and Nat, the 2 founders of the Pepper Mill, and Billy Pagnetti, who's our CEO, and basically said, look, if we can sell the region, forget about, I know there's always this feeling that we're all dog eat dog competing and trying to keep everybody in, but we just felt that, look, if we can extend a stay instead of 2.8 to 3.5 days and sell the region, whether it's a conventioner that's never been here before, that says, what's Chickadee Ridge and they eat out of your hand, or what's the Italian Fest, it's downtown, or the basement, or Midtown, or we always try to do some food and beverage. We're the first ones to say, hey, if you're staying with us for 3 nights, if one of the nights you decide to go down to Lulu's or you go to the Atlanta Steak, whatever, it's a win-win, right? So I'm just gonna hand these out. And again, it's not, I know it sounds like a major self-plug for the, but it's not.
No, but I love that you're interacting with other things.
Absolutely.
You're not making
I
it
think
about
this
just
one I think featured more. Ranchera was the main push, but we had the Discovery Museum. We've done a number of things on, you know, whether it's paddleboard, and then this is the deal is, especially seeing Good Giant come in from the local side and Decker Royal. I think the idea of this portal and sharing the information, you know, whether it might be, we did a write-up on the Gigafactory, right? And it's things that might not even be tourism related. So if there's ideas and really, and whether throw them our way too. I know that our folks stay in touch too, but anyway, that's my
How often
shameless
do you
plug.
produce that?
Quarterly?
Okay, so you do it quarterly, and then also, what I think is so good about this, because we all, I mean, I obviously own a business, we all own business, we all are trying to expand on business. But it's a lot easier to sell up to your current base that you already have, your current customer, right? than going out and getting a new customer. And so I always say this is like the fruit that is like before us, that we can always expand and attract. Well, I mean, we've already attracted them, right? So how do we get them spending more and coming back?
Right. I think that's.
So you're capturing them where you can.
I mean, what, I don't know, the marketing,
Isn't
cliche
it
of.
beautiful?
The marketing cliche of the cheapest, what is it? You know, it's basically your repeat guests, right?
Yeah.
And your newest customers, it's hard to get new people to try it out, but anyway, that's my.
Peter, do you
shameless
guys,
plug.
do you guys track how many get taken from the room? I mean, yes.
That
I
might be a
don't
little.
know, I need to, I do know we have to reprint and because basically we run them through housekeeping, right? to get
Yeah,
them
yeah, yeah.
But they leave, and it's with that purpose, we overprint, knowing that they're gonna go with people, but,
Yeah.
you know, again, and I'm not, but it's things, we'll promote a competitor's, you know, we've done a number of downtown events.
Yeah, I love this. I wonder if you could put on like, take this home with you, because I always, when I'm in a room,
Take me,
I-
yeah.
like, I love to look at the material.
But like, I
But
can't
I'm
take it
not
home.
sure if I can take it home. Like, I feel like someone's gonna find out if I take it, right? So we should put on take home,
You take.
yeah.
Take me home,
something.
please. Anyway, thank you for the,
Take this home.
thank you for the show and tell real quick.
I love, it's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Well, and that's our, you know, anybody that knows Katie and
Oh,
this
they're very
gentleman,
talented.
yeah, they're high,
They- They
But anyway,
are.
all good.
Okay, I love this. Okay, where are we at?
Very quick update from finance, Madam Mayor.
Very quick. Oh, all the money. We like that part. Okay, good job, Courtney. Take it away.
Good morning, Courtney Jager, Vice President of Finance. So we wanted to start off this section with a recap of room tax performance for fiscal year 24. The preliminary fiscal year 24 figures were distributed from our room tax department in July, so I'll move through this quickly. Starting in the fall of last year, as Mike mentioned, and as you remember, we did see a softening in overall taxable room revenues. However, cumulatively for the year, taxable room revenues only ended up down about 3% from the prior year, driven by occupancy, since ADR remained relatively flat. So here we have taxable room revenue by tax district. In terms of percentages, Reno D had the largest decrease at 8%. Most other districts remained relatively flat. Next, we have our regular monthly room tax update. Like Mike mentioned, August was a record-breaking month that was driven by occupancy, and Mike already went through the contributing factors, so we won't repeat those again, and I'll move along pretty quickly here. But year to date, we are overall within 2% of taxable room revenues from the prior year. So here's a closer look at the trends for occupied rooms. For August, hotels were up 5%, and total occupied rooms were also up cumulatively around 5%. Year to date, occupied rooms are flat overall, with a slight decrease in hotels being offset by increases in other categories. For August, average daily rates were down about 1%, with hotels being relatively flat, vacation rentals being down 4%, and offsets from some of the smaller categories. And taking a look at the tax districts, for August, most districts were up. Year to date, Reno D is down overall 8%, Washoe B is up slightly over 7%, and Reno D is flat. And
Wow,
That was good
look
job.
at you. Okay, all right. Starting with you, Rick.
Is there
Any
money in the
questions?
bank?
yes.
Thank you.
John,
I got a few, can I say, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I-
Go ahead.
My notes, man. Really
Go
quick.
ahead.
Super fast. Hey, I think it's so important, Mike, on this track that there's only two, isn't there, in the United States?
The three in the West Coast.
3 in the West Coast. So this is such an attraction, just not for Nevada, but it's an attraction for Sac State, for UCLA, for Portland, Oregon, the schools. I mean, this is pretty interesting. You can come down to a destination
Yeah,
with
we,
hotel rooms and actually
yeah.
pretty big deal. I just want to make that point, how big this track should be nationally and maybe that's even great. And Christina, for you, where's my gaming influencers? Don't forget me.
I'm not forgetting.
Don't
you.
forget us.
I'm not.
Thank you.
love
Thank
it.
you.
John East,
I had nothing to say.
Alexis. Oh, I'm good. You're good? Okay, Eddie.
So Courtney, on the finance, we've had issues, maybe I was wrong, but I thought we had issues with some of our vacation rental reports and paying their share in the past. Am I?
So there is
but not necessarily vacation rentals for homeowners. Washoe County implemented a licensing process to make sure that those homeowners are properly being licensed if they want to be renting out rooms. Through that licensing process, that's how we're determining who needs to be licensed with us as well. So there's a bit of a policing process.
But unincorporated Washoe.
Exactly.
So I guess, I mean, do we need to, what do we need for, I mean, is that going well? Is that?
Yeah, we find it's going, pretty well, just looking at the trends too. I mean, we don't see anything that gives us any glaring indication that there's a significant amount of people that are renting rooms and not registering with the county and with the RSCVA. So we feel pretty confident. What's really great is that anyone who rents their home through Airbnb files those taxes. So there's no way that those aren't getting paid. So really it's the homeowner rentals, which is one of the smallest segments of room tax overall, and we don't see any warning trends that indicate that there's any issues there. So we feel pretty great with the process that we run in conjunction with the county.
And BBRO is also doing.
No, BBRO does have people file individually, but Airbnb is a much larger portion.
That would be an issue.
Yes.
Okay, and then Stephen, I just want to say, this is absolutely amazing. I don't remember the name of the magazine that's local, and I hope we're not the ones that do, but this, like,
It's beautiful.
this makes that local magazine.
Okay.
I'm just saying, I would go out and go get this, right? You guys put this out in all the, restaurants and stuff.
Yeah.
That local magazine.
Where is the, pastry chef that was on, the
So
next?
that was,
Was it
that's our
one-
most recent version.
Coming out.
It just came out.
So you brought us outdated.
I know, I didn't hear it right. They give me the look.
Can you bring the next issue next?
We have the seconds.
Yep,
Yeah.
how we're gonna coordinate.
But I also want to point out, we had, a calendar in here, which is super cool, and we appreciate you putting in the other, events that the other properties.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. Good job. Okay, Stephen, any questions on, finance? Nothing? Great.
Nope.
Charlene?
Nope.
And you should, because you're all about the money.
I know I'm about the money, but Courtney and I have talked and, you
Yeah.
know, she's on top of it.
Okay, and I appreciate that. So where are we at?
1101.
E1.
E1. Okay, we're gonna, jump to E1. And I appreciate everyone being so streamlined. I will just tell you this, how I like to run a meeting is you get a pre-board, you get to dive in there with all your questions, takes all the time you want. You get their, full undivided attention during those. So I suggest that you take advantage of those. And so when we get to the board, we really jump into the meat and potatoes, the things you guys care about, the room nights, expanding on events, marketing, all that stuff, because that's where I think we can make the biggest impact. I don't want to get into things that, can weigh us down. So I appreciate that. All right, Mike, all you. Take it
Thank you,
away.
Madam Mayor. Mike Luttiger for the record. We presented 5 recommended additions and changes to the unsolicited sponsorship and sponsorship program that we initiated months ago. Those 5 changes are a change in payment timing and structure. We're altered to include installments for events that are determined by staff. 50% of the funds are requested at the requested date, and the remaining 50% at the conclusion of the event. The second change was payment conditions were added to allow for the RSCVA to review the progress and adherence to the agreed terms and then adjust payment if staff so decided. Document requirements: the organization must provide appropriate documentation and reports as required by the RSCVA, such as invoices, proof of expenses, and a post-event report. We also are asking that the location of the event and the number of attendees expected were added to the application. And the last change or modification is a post-event report, a separate report that the event organizers will need to fill out to receive the remaining payment.
Move to approve.
All right, I have a motion.
Second.
I have a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries unanimously. Back at you.
E2.
The annual plan, we do this once a year. This is based on a strategic plan that was approved in 2022. The 3-year strategic plan, as well as the updated annual plan, was sent out to the board at the end of July. Typically, we approve this in August. We did not have an August meeting, so we're here. The major updates were to page 2, the introduction, and then pages 8 through 10 related to finalized tax and room revenue, cash occupied room nights, and aggregated room rate statistics. Everything in the majority of the goals is based clearly on that three-year plan. Updates are marked as measurables. Those are the tactics that staff has agreed to, work on this fiscal year. Some of those are tied to already, approved goals, from the board. And if there are any questions, I think the big outstanding thing at the end of this is the board will, want to consider, I think, either looking at it, some kind of a new plan, towards the start of the next calendar year.
Yeah.
But other than
Yeah.
that, we are open to questions.
Did everyone see that? Did you guys all read it and see it? Okay, that's number one. I think that's really good. I was getting very nervous looking at these numbers. I think many of you were too, as we were seeing what was happening with room nights. It was really concerning me. And I think it also made us think a little bit differently. Those guys really stepped on the gas because you guys were really nervous and said, we want to turn the ship around, and they did. So I want to like give you guys massive, massive kudos. I'm like super proud. And Ben's correct, moving into 20, is it 25? Moving into 25, before we do that, I'm gonna meet with each and every single one of you to find out what it is you want to hit the ground running with. Each of you have probably something that you really want to see out of this board and what we can accomplish. So I will meet with each and every single one of you, but I also want to be very careful about saying, oh, we're gonna have a retreat. Those are typically very boring, same old, same old. So I want to figure out how we do a better job of energizing all of us and our partners to come up with something, a big, big vision, because I'm super competitive for 25. And what do we do, 3 years, 25, 26, 27?
So it's up for discussion. We've done 3 years in the past on strategic plan. Senior staff has had discussion of potentially going to 2 because we have found for those that have been here a while and we've done these 3-year plans, you get a year, 2 years into it, and the 3rd-year plan is,
Yeah.
3rd year is.
Because we pivoted with some of those numbers that you guys were seeing in your properties. It was like, it really was scary. So, what do you guys think? I'm curious. Okay, Rick, we're up. We're gonna start with you.
I think thank God they pivoted. I still think we've got some rough seas coming ahead. It's a non-bowling year next year. I think that affects not just the row, it affects
Yeah.
everybody down in the airlines. I think it's critical that, 2 things, I think we have to get with the airport and we gotta do, I think, a better job. When I say we, you guys got the bank, we've got to get more people flying in here and more planes. I think it's absolutely critical. I said, you guys corrected our tourism issue. Hopefully that can, we're gonna keep moving and we get some snow because we're gonna need it for our 4th quarter. But I really believe airport is a catalyst and we've got to get that. We've got to focus on streamlining and working together. You've got all the great agencies here that can send the message, fly Reno Tahoe. So I think it's very important that that becomes one of our critical tasks.
One of the things that I would just ask Richard, we put you on the hot seat, but I think he's absolutely right, because we used to celebrate the new flights that would come in. We get a couple hundred people at a media event to celebrate those, like when we got JetBlue and Austin, like we've done a lot. And when you get a few hundred people at those people are telling other people, hey, look what flights we just got. I don't know what flights we're getting anymore. So maybe we can do something to bring that back. It was typically on the airport side, so maybe you can help us.
Yeah, absolutely. We need to do that again because we gotta get the enthusiasm going. We've gotta get that energy going. And I think, maybe you and I can meet with Natalie and just say, what do we need to do? Because we've got to start putting these events back on. We've got to start, anytime we have the Olympic things going on, anytime we have something big going on, we had a great showing for the opening of the new ticketing counter. We need to continue with that. I agree 100%.
You built the Taj Mahal, now we gotta get flights.
Now we gotta get them in there. We're bringing them in, but we got some announcements coming up.
Okay, Johnny.
So when it comes to the 3-year plan and this, I believe the 3-year plan is a healthy process, but I do believe there's an annual review of that 3-year plan, so we don't stale date 3 years out. So it's a rolling 3-year plan is what it becomes. So I think in terms of the items that are on there, I think we talked about some of those things, but I do think that's a good process.
Yeah, good point. Pivot where you need to, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, Alexis Hill.
I agree. I think the year plan works, but I don't ever want to have the board say, well, we can't do anything because we already put this in the
I
plan.
hate that.
Yeah.
That's the worst.
And I appreciate.
Oh, no,
you
we
meeting-
can't. We gotta stick to the plan.
Exactly. I appreciate you meeting with board members to hear priorities.
Yeah.
Thinking on how we're gonna work together and get some great things done.
Totally. Okay, Eddie.
Yeah. So I think obviously a very robust, how we can get through the next year, but looking in the future and in our pre-board, something that I don't know what it is, but with the development around Trick, the growth, there's hotels coming in, what are they gonna be doing? And no matter what, they're using our region from a commercial perspective and maybe from a lifestyle and entertainment down the road. That region's gonna grow, and we have to start planning for what that's gonna look like. Things happening at the lake with new hotels coming in, right? And there's a lot of excitement around the growth up there and bringing more people to our lake. So I think 1 year is great, 3 year, but also, I've shared with you some of my passion that, Richard and I are looking to work collaboratively on. I think incorporating those things into a strategic plan for us enables us with authority to actually do more stuff.
Yeah, sports tourism is huge. Huge.
Madam Mayor, to add on, 30% of our tax base is select service properties. It's the hottest thing going. We're building 2 right now, one in Tahoe, down in Minden, Gardnerville, and we're building one in Reno, de Janeiro. So the point I'm saying, you know what I mean? It's critical that we look, as you change, we gotta be nimble, but we gotta fill the rooms.
Yeah.
And there's travel is different. If you wanna go to Tahoe, you stay in Reno now and you'll drive up, but people do come here. Thank God we have Tahoe. I mean, that's critical.
I love that. Okay, Stephen, your turn.
No, I do.
He's thinking about this.
Yeah.
He was done with like. That's what he's thinking of the next content.
I disagree with, I agree with John in the sense of, I just think we have to stay fluid.
Yeah.
But I think a 3 year with a rolling, but
Correct.
the one thing I'd say, just while we're talking about, pre-board, so I do think too, in respect of all the staff time that goes into it, I think where we can piggyback, I know I piggybacked with Rick this time. It's one less meeting for staff to do
Yeah.
things as an individual, so I think, and again, stay within the quorum rules, I understand, but I think that really helps, but I think the pre-board is critical.
Yeah, it helps collaboration. too,
Yeah,
I
it
think,
does.
And
You pick up
among board members.
Yeah.
So I like the idea of rotating, who we do those, to the extent that schedules are available to do
Yeah.
it. I like the idea of just meeting with different board members.
Yeah, and I would say what maybe Charlene's passionate about versus what Eddie is passionate about, it's different. And sometimes you need to take the time with each board member so they get those questions asked. And then I would just ask, just because I know from our council meetings, I ask my council, really dig in those meetings if that's where you have all the questions. Because, the rest of you might not care about then maybe an issue that Charlene is looking at, right? And you guys are all sitting here going, why am I listening to this for 15 minutes? But also you're not duplicating, those responses too. So that really helps if we can do that in those pre-boards. So I just want to be able to get you guys out of here quickly because I know you have busy lives and you guys have work to do. So anyway, okay, thanks. Greg, you're up.
Okay, I think 2 years is too short. Sometimes it just takes the first year to kind of even get up and running on a plan.
This will work for us in 2 years too. We're just trying to be accurate, but the ability to pivot is great.
Yeah. Do you hire a company to put this together for you?
We do.
Okay,
Yeah.
wonderful.
And then I'm looking forward, because you saw the presentation today on the sustainability piece, and when I think of that, I think all you.
Me too. Absolutely.
So and that's something we haven't seen before in our strategic plan to that level.
Absolutely.
So we're gonna really be looking to you.
For sure.
That's awesome.
Sounds
Loved it, loved it. And it showed you what a big deal that was. People were interested,
Definitely.
okay. Charlene?
Thank you. I would agree, really the 3 year, I think it's way too much work and, as long as we know, and we have, with the last 3 year, we had the annual plan. So the annual plan's purpose was to be able to pivot and to kind of look at things. And then you guys all through this last 3 years have presented, each department has kind of connected what you're doing and what your report is to what our plan is, to what that strategic plan is to kind of keep it in mind and not sitting on a shelf like a lot of us can. So I would be on board for that. I appreciate the mayor wanting to meet with each of us individually so we can share. I would like to see maybe, not a retreat necessarily, but can we, when we all come back together, can it be like a workshop? We do like budget workshop that we get all the information and then it's more than just a meeting. It becomes a workshop to get going so we can help Ben craft this for us and the company we're using to craft it. So the workshop format, and I love pre-boards, rotating if we can. And Mira, I know it depends on all of our, but we started doing that with city council instead of just being with 2 council members always, that we started rotating that. And it was amazing how different dynamics were when I was with one council member compared to another. And even with you guys, Eddie and I just did ours. A lot of times I've been alone and I really would prefer if I was with 1 or even 2. Because we can do 3, right, Ben? 3 of us can meet in a pre-board. And that helps save you guys some time.
Okay, Vice Chair Jay.
Real quick, 3 years, I agree 100%. Couple things really focus on, the airport thing. Even more, let's ramp it up a little bit more. We've got the, the tournament thing going on. We've got, Mayor Hillary knows better than anybody else. We've got to keep pushing Pembroke and Mill Street moving those. To Rick's point about the economy, I agree. But at the same time, looking at the economic data that's come in, we're pretty good. Corporate profits are good. I think we need to, plan for the worst, recession. But at the same time, we're looking pretty good. So I don't know if we're gonna get one in 25. But, let's kind of plan for it, but at the same time, let's plan for greatness and get the numbers as much as we can. Thank you.
Love it. Okay, that being said, I'm gonna make a motion to approve item E2.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Okay, item F, board member announcements, reports, and updates. I'm gonna start to my right. Go right ahead.
Okay, great. Make it fast. Airport experienced busiest summer in 2 decades. June, 12% increase. July, 8% increase. August, 9% increase. Looking forward, we're looking to a 9% increase in seats this year compared to last year. We just had our annual audit, and as you know, in an audit, it's impossible to get a perfect score in an audit. Well, we had almost a perfect score. They looked at everything, and this audit was done during the fire. So, it really taxed everybody. We got a very positive report from the inspector, so that was exciting. Loop Road opens up on Monday, the 30th. You all should have received an invitation to that. So come on by. The Loop Road looks good. The bollards those aren't being pushed over easily. They're very deep. They're amazing. Ground transportation has started. Can't really see too much, but a lot of work going on. Mark your calendars for December 7th. Very important. RSCVA last year participated for the first time ever in Operation Santa Claus. That is very near and dear to my heart. It's one of my pet things that I want out there. We work with the Children's Cabinet. We're going to have 25 plus families. Mr. and Mrs. Claus come in on the C-130. We wave them in. Mike, you were there last year. You saw how much fun it was. Kids don't know that when they go inside the hangar, there's presents for them. We're changing that up a little bit. The presents won't be there because it's logistically too hard, but there's a meal, we're gonna have band, we're gonna have music. I hope to see all of you guys there because I'm telling you, it will bring a tear to your eye when you see the impact that we make on those kids. So you'll get invitation for that, and that is it. 30 seconds.
That's awesome. All right, Charlene, anything? Nope. No, Greg?
Nope.
Stephen?
All good.
All good? Okay. Eddie?
Briefly, Reno Sparks Chamber of Commerce, we just continue to grow with membership.
Good.
Thrilled about the engagement from the business community. There's a lot of excitement for the region from businesses. Again, testament to the 3 leaders in here for the work you're doing for a very business-friendly community. And one of the priorities that was brought to me throughout the years, how do we change some possible legislation at the exec legislative committee? Our subcommittee met and we talked with our lobbyists to see possible bill coming forward to sort of make our operations a little bit more fluid and collaborative that I know that my organization is interested in. So we're going to meet again and hopefully bring something to you all as a team a little bit later.
Okay, love it.
Thank you.
Alexa?
Well, to add to that, the exec and legislative committee also looked at our board policy, so we'll be next, on our next agenda. And Ben did a really good job of getting those all cleaned up for us, so thank you so much. And then October 15th is a Tuesday night at 6 o'clock. We're going to be honoring our firefighters who came together and saved this community. It will be at the Reno Aces. I'll send everyone the details. And I want to thank all of our property partners who gave everyone discounted rates who were displaced. It was a lot of people who had to evacuate, so thank you all for your support. And also the Pepper Mill, I just want to give you a shout out for the $100,000 you donated to the United Way to support the effort, so thank you.
Yeah, that was super nice. That was a big deal. That was very nice. And I want to say thank you to the casino properties. You guys did a phenomenal job. There were other properties that aren't, gaming properties that actually were price gouging, and it was really unfortunate. And it was really your opportunity, what you guys did, offering those, all of you stepped up, and the Jay was the first out of the gate, and I was very appreciative. So, and then lastly, I heard there was one there's going to be one at Sky Tavern with Jeremy Renner.
Oh, wonderful.
So, we'll coordinate on that too, but anytime you can support them, it's a big deal.
There was a lady last night that was involved in the fire came up to me and said it was a miracle, but that they stopped it at these houses. So it
was a miracle.
Yeah, it was a miracle.
It was a miracle. So I want to thank the county because it's interesting in times of crisis, like we really have to come together, and people don't understand jurisdictional boundaries, and they don't care.
No.
And they shouldn't care, because whatever affects them is gonna affect us. And so I want to say, great job to Alexis, because it's very hard to be in that position. It's very, very stressful. I know you didn't sleep for several nights. I didn't sleep for several nights. We were constantly in communication. And it's just interesting to see the dynamic that happens, but that's whenever you really learn someone's character, and you did a phenomenal job. So I wanted to say thank you, and especially our firefighters. Huge kudos.
Actually, tonight they're doing an event down in Carson Valley Inn for wildland firefighters.
That's great.
It's put on by Coors, and it's all the money goes back to fight fire. So it's just not in one, it's regional. We got some flammable things around here.
No, and but it's a real issue now more than ever, and everyone needs to be prepared. I hate to say it, but have your to-go bag ready, those kinds of things. You just need to be very, very aware. But, it was, that predictive map scared the living bejesus out of me. So anyway, I want to say thanks to all of you guys. Okay, John, do you have anything? Rick? Nothing? And then I would just ask, by moving forward, to get a property update from Stephen, John, and Rick at, some of our meetings. Typically, I don't know, like, I'll talk with Mike, but I'd like to have a property update, what you guys are doing, what's opening, what's happening. It's really good for us to get a feel for what's happening in our gaming properties, so if you don't mind.
Love it.
Okay, perfect. All right, what else? Where are we at? Last but not least, okay, everyone's favorite item, public comment.
No public comment.
What? I had 2 hours yesterday. How does that happen? No, I don't know, over an hour, but, just exaggerating. And
Mayor, I like to
how
talk
much do you
all the
have?
time.
Yeah, there you go.
How long is your public comment?
Oh, about 15, 20 minutes.
Oh, and for Alexis over here, 3 hours and 40 minutes, okay. Anyway, all right, okay, so what else do we have? Let's do your favorite motion. I'm gonna hand it to Mr. Murdoch for item H. The most difficult one.
Goodbye.
Move to adjourn.
Motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, okay, perfect. Thanks, everyone. Great meeting. We are over, just so you know. So next time, 22, we were 22 minutes over, so next time we'll do a little bit better of being on time.
14 minutes, Mr. Murdoch. Yeah, I did.
Which is, okay.
I heard it. I heard it.
Yes. Like, you know, my friend, so much, you know? That's how we just got.
Yeah, I think it's part of it, right?
It does. No, let's go.